Ooh, Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, good morning, afternoon. Damn it. Not good. Hey, Haley, if you're watching, hi, sweetness.
Hey.
What's going on, everybody? Okay, so yesterday, Brock gave me fake news.
What?
Yesterday, Brock said we were number 6 on the leaderboard.
That's not fake news, because when I checked, it was 6.
Okay, because Alan, the guru, who I believe, said we were number 4. We were number 4 on the leaderboard. All right, I'm going to tell you this. This is how it's funny, okay? So, number 1 was Dan Bongino. He had 709,000 views. Then Steven Crowder with 544,000 views. Then Julie G, her Julie Green Ministries, 128,000. Then us, 62,000. Then Vince, 176,000. All these people with way more than we had. And there we are. And you know who got number 1 percentage of likes per views? That's us. And that's the game. That is the game.
So today...
And thank you for helping us play it.
Just so you all know up front, today is Unread Bad Joke Friday.
Oh, you didn't read them?
Well, they're from ones we've missed in the past.
All of your jokes cut through.
No, I had to go deal with an insurance adjuster this morning. And
okay, my story was better. It sounded
but
a
it was
lot more
fake
like
news.
It wasn't, because I have a whole pile of them and I'd like to get them. How are you guys? What's going on? What's happening? It's great to be with you. Who's going to be at a soccer tournament this weekend? I will.
I won't be.
This is it. I'm at the end of the line.
Are you grainy in there?
It has cycled on and off, like the internet is weird or something over here. Meanwhile, we're killing it on X right now. We have 39 people. If you're on X, I'm glad you're here. Hey, you know what? I want to read you something. How's this for the greatest message yesterday from you guys? You ready? This is from Kelly. Kelly lives in Emau, Pennsylvania, EMMAU, outside of Allentown. Never heard of it. Sorry. She says, I have been tuning into you daily since February 2025.
What took so long?
I fell and broke my hip in December of 2024, came out of the hospital after that injury mid-January of 2025, and I was listening to you during my recovery. It was so helpful. I was able to laugh during times that I was close to depression. That's so nice of you to say that. The time change for your show makes me happy that y'all have more life with your family. We keep up a lot of the topics and Q-related issues. Oh, she's one of those. Tinfoil hat wearers. Glad you're here, Kel. You come on back. She says, I totally agree with you. You're 24 to 48 hours ahead of others. On some stuff. I appreciate the joking back and forth between you and Brock. Recognize the depth of your friendship. The compliment I want to give you both is that you are truly authentic.
I don't know how to be anything else.
And then she says, I failed to mention, by the way, that I'm taking Blood Flow 7. And she asked her cardiologist about the nitric acid in it. And it's actually nitric oxide. And she told me that it actually relaxes the muscles in the lining of veins and arteries, allowing the blood to flow more easily. Look at that. It's almost like I haven't lied to you. I love it. I'm also interested in doing Kelly Morgan's 90 Ignite. I love your sponsors. I've ordered Genucel CB Distillery, right, to get her to fall asleep. She's like, it's amazing. The Relief Stick also. And she is ready to try Tulip Blooms.
I would highly recommend Tulip Blooms.
Is that the best?
As a dude, and you all can say he doesn't have his man card, I really don't care. As a dude, I absolutely can appreciate that. The Tulip Blooms.
We'll talk a little bit more. I wanted to say hi to Sindra G. She says, I love listening to you guys. I love this. She's like, my mom called at 11:55, and I was rocking back and forth watching the clock because I was going to miss the beginning of the show. I know I can go back and watch what I've missed, but still, right?
Hi, Mom. Bye, Mom.
Right? I love it. I love it. Thank
Because you guys try the sponsors.
Yeah.
And ultimately enjoy the sponsors as much as we do. Keeps us in business. It keeps the show going.
And I got a great testimonial about Ghost Bed, and they're back next week, as is Lean, which is exciting.
You want to see Wendy just start to shiver?
Oh my! Wow!
Did you get an estimate?
Okay, I got my estimate. Only the roof.
Only the roof.
No
so
skylights.
My number's still good.
No skylights. Who wants to put in an offer here? Give me. I'll do something.
Do it in the comments.
Do so in the comments. Give me literally. Let's start with ballpark, and then we'll whittle it down, and then whomever is closest, I'm going to give you something. How's that? I love you guys.
Probably my raise.
5, 4.
Yeah, $4 doesn't seem like enough.
2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. I hope you can hear it in my voice every single day at this time. When I begin talking to you behind this beautiful microphone, and you can hear that I'm smiling. I'm smiling because beyond all of the ridiculosity that's going on in the world, all of the many people in high positions who are disappointing us, all of the many things we have to complain about, this is the greatest place on planet Earth. And damn it, I am so proud. I am so honored. And I am privileged to sit here before you as a United States citizen. This is the greatest place. Let's not lose touch with that, right? There's a lot to talk about today. We've got some James Comey action here on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Delighted you're joining us. WendyBellRadio.com is how you follow along all 3 hours. And I'm going to say, if you've got to bounce, make sure you come back on the podcast. End of the 3rd hour is perhaps my favorite good news stories that we've ever played for you. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, isn't it funny how something can happen in your life that makes everything else that you're worried about, and some things that are big, that keep you up at night, that have you chewing your fingernails down to the quick, that have you pacing, those things can go away. Sometimes with a phone call that you're not expecting. Sometimes with word from a doctor or a knock on the door. And then all those things that are so enrapturing that manage to twist in your brain and make your gut sick just kind of go away. We're in that position right now where there's a lot for us to complain about. And I agree that there are. I think we are extraordinarily disappointed by the slow speed with which anything happens. The change it's criminal how slow the process is. And yet we have to take a step back, maybe up to 30,000 feet, and remember the entirety of the basis of our government is intended to be slow. Justice, the wheels of it, intended to be painstakingly slow. But it's hard when you see what's so wrong and you scream it from the mountaintops, and everybody else is joining you, save for the wacko, white, college-educated, liberal, toxic, progressive chicks out there who are the scourge of our entire society. Everybody else is like, this isn't complicated. What the hell's wrong with you? Why aren't you listening? It's very frustrating. The frustration is feeling like you have no role. You have no voice. There's nothing you can do. You're kind of impotent. You feel, you can taste it, you can smell it. Oh, you want to punch somebody, but there's nothing you can really do. Reach out and connect anyone and make a change. Or so you think. So I'm outside in the front yard yesterday, and I'm picking up sticks. People say to me, why don't you have your kids do the yard work and whatnot? And you see, that's my escape. That's where I go to do mindless activity that always shows itself quickly. Like, unlike mopping, right? If you cut the grass, you can see the pattern. You can see progress. If you pick up sticks, pull weeds, turn over the mulch, what have you, it's progress, right? So I'm sitting outside because I'm super frustrated. I'm having an issue with one of my sons. So I'm outside picking up sticks, mulling over how I'm going to go about it. And a neighbor of mine, cute girl, 3 little kids, walking her dog, pick the kids up from school, walking up the street to go to her house. She comes over. The kids run up into the house. How are you? We start talking. She needed to talk. And I think this is a lot of young families out there right now. She and her husband both work, 3 kids, young kids, all elementary, middle school or younger. And she travels and he travels. And so there are these ships passing in the night, and their calendars line up, not so that they can be together ever, but so that there's always childcare for the kids. And so they're like this weird double helix, right? That never seems to connect. And she's super stressed about it. She's put on some weight. She feels yucky, right? And she's frustrated because when she gets home from traveling, she's got to do this and make dinner, and he never thinks about dinner. And then there's this, and then there's the homework, and what about the blah, blah, blah. And then I've got a doctor's appointment with the kids, and then they got to go to the dentist. And I was like, you know what? I'm just smiling and looking at her. She's like, and all I wanted was for him to change the light bulb. One light bulb. And he said, when the weather is nice again, I'll change this light bulb out on the patio. Well, the weather had been nice a couple days, and nothing had happened, and he was doing all this stuff, and it was the thing that broke her back. She's like, it's ridiculous. It's a freaking light bulb. I'm like, I understand. She's like, I feel like I'm in quicksand, and I'm going nowhere fast, and I'm doing nothing well. My job is annoying. I don't find that it's gratifying. I feel like I'm slipping through the cracks, pasting stuff together to try to be the best mom I can be, and I'm doing nothing well. And I'm like, yeah. And she kind of looked at me. And I was like, yeah, that's how it goes. Until you get through it a little bit and you realize that there is only one you. That you can work another job, but there is nothing you are going to do in your life ever that is more important than what you're doing at home with your children. There is no job. There is no paycheck. There are no benefits packages. There's no time out, no time off, no vacation plan that will ever make a job more valuable than who you are at your house. You are everything. You are your husband's partner. You're the heartbeat of your children. You're the meals. You're the love. You're the ear. And your needs are last. Rejoice. That is a good thing. Kind of looked at me quizzically like, what? How's that a good thing? This time is so fleeting. As parents, what do we have? 18, 20 years, now maybe 22 years to impact our children, to watch them, to shape them, to create what we believe is our job, our duty to the rest of the planet, create wonderful kids. Do the best we can. It's not always easy, and it's certainly never pretty, right? And so I texted her back this morning after she kind of walked away, feeling like there was a dark cloud over her. And I'm like, you know, at some point, you stop looking at all the things you have to do, and you celebrate the things you get to do, because they're the same. It's a matter how you look at it. This president doesn't look at this country and this world and look at things he has to do. He looks at opportunities that he gets to try, things he gets to change, people he gets to hire, conversations he gets to spearhead, changes he gets to make for the benefit of all of us. And it's frustrating. As frustrating it is for my neighbor to feel as though when she looks back at the day, she's really done nothing. You've done everything. And you've done everything that was most important. Because it wasn't about your title. It wasn't about the nameplate on the door. It wasn't about a business suit and an airline ticket or about anything involving your job. It's your heart, your connection. You are everything. How lucky. How lucky are you? I admit I don't often look at life that way. Commonly enough, I should, because I can talk a mean game, but it's easy to get stuck in it. It's easy for all of the things that you're worrying about right now seem so overwhelming until that phone rings or the knock on the door happens. God forbid. I don't want to miss the sweet stuff. I don't want to miss what we're going through because you know what? It's painful. It's like raising a family. There are phases. Each one is complicated, but it opens the door to the next. And at the end of it, at some point when our children walk down the aisle and meet their forever love at the end of it, that's really for us. That's mission accomplished. That's a job well done. We're on our way. We're on our way. I believe that. I do. Today, we're going to talk about some things that are kind of like bumps in the road, some landmines Democrats have planted. They want all the things that you and I care about. This whole family thing that we've got, this USA family, the herd that we want to protect, that we want to play our role in growing. They want us to be uprooted and thrown off course, but it seems like the more they poll, the more the majority is speaking loudly. Pass the damn Save America Act. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Okie dokie.
I'll say something that, not being a parent, but you'll all probably agree with. The stuff a parent does that who here has learned more just from remembering what you did as a kid? My parents become smarter every day.
Yeah.
I can't, and my father and I did, full transparency, my father and I were not close, lived in the same house, couldn't be worlds apart, but he becomes smarter every day. I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Same with my mom. My mom's been gone 30 years. And it's the same thing. Like you don't even realize the impact you have. You may never.
She hasn't responded to my text, but I transcribed
my mom?
it.
She wasn't around for cell phone.
My neighbor hasn't responded to my text.
What do you respond to? The impact I think a parent has, good, bad, if it's what you don't want to be or the things you want to be, the impact is phenomenal.
It's a blessing. Okay, so how many of you take Lipitor? How many of you take cholesterol medication? You're worried about your cholesterol. You realize heart disease is the #1 killer in America. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have all sorts of problems. I don't want plaque, because then you go and you see somebody like my husband who's got to put in a stent so you can get the blood flow that you need. I think this product from Healthy Cell is truly revolutionary. Your body uses cholesterol to build healthy cells. It's an important part of who we are. But high cholesterol levels can increase your risk of heart disease, leading cause of death in the U.S. High cholesterol causes fatty deposits to form and grow in your blood vessels, which restricts blood flow, which is why you're like, right? Our heart and vascular health combines vitamin K2, resveratrol, grapeseed extract, and soluble fiber to help maintain healthy cholesterol levels and improve cardiovascular health. Throw my name, Wendy, in on the discount line, and you're going to knock 20% off. Look, it's like $1.20 a day to take one of these. Healthycell.com/Wendy. Healthycell.com/Wendy. You don't have to be on drugs if something like this can do it for you. The ingredients I read you sound a lot less scary than they do from a prescription pad in your doctor's office. Healthycell.com/Wendy. Promo code Wendy.
I always think of the thermostat. What's this thermostat? Now I find myself saying, why do we need to leave every light in the house?
What are we doing? Refrigerating the neighborhood?
Yeah, we heating the neighborhood?
Why are we close the refrigerator? Right? Us when we were young and we thought they were so old and so stupid, right? You're like, my parents are so lame. They don't have a clue in the world. And then you grow up and you're like, oh yeah, vodka mixed with apple juice isn't tasty, especially not on the way up, right? How many things? In our household, it was all about water because we grew up in California and there was always water rationing. So you couldn't leave the faucet on for long or else my mom or dad would snark at you. The refrigerator was open too long. What are we doing? Refrigerating the neighborhood? And you're like, oh, Brock, you had to have one or two.
Yeah, we had the thermostat.
Yes.
You know, I'm not paying to heat or cool the outside. And we didn't even have air conditioning. So it's just like, what?
What are we doing?
And do we need to leave every light in the house on?
Who's paying the electricity in this house? It's not you. And you're
I'm not paying to light up the whole neighborhood.
Right? So we're just giggling about that. That has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm telling you. But by and large, you know what? Let's have a little fun on a Friday. So here's the news from redstate.com. You know, such a shame. Democrats get more bad polling news on voter ID, right? It's so dumb. Why are we beating this into the ground? Why is this so complicated? Like, everybody and his brother now has a front row seat to how much Senate Republicans suck. Isn't that amazing? Look, we've said that I'm an equal opportunity hater, okay? You know what you're going to get with the Democrats. They very rarely save John Fetterman, very rarely surprise us. You're like, yeah, that's what they do. They suck always, right? But it's the people who pretend to be the patriots, who pretend that they're MAGA, who are really deep state secrets of suck, right? Who'll do anything to thwart what we want. That are the real problem. Everybody's watching this. New poll out right now. Yeah, in fact, we all still really want the SAVE Act. Democrats have been using scare tactics. They've been pushing bogus talking points about voter and photo ID, ages and ages and ages, right? But this person, the author, says my home state of North Carolina has a lot of experience in this regard. Being one of the red states, the leftist groups tried to sue into oblivion over the original GOP-packed voter and photo ID bill that was signed back into law in 2013. So what's so wrong about making this a national thing, a federal thing? Well, it's really not a big deal. Polling on the issue has not wavered over the years. It continues to consistently show widespread support. An overwhelming majority of people in the country, including Democrats, Black voters, Hispanic voters, everybody's still on board. It's not like we've changed our mind, like the media have flooded the zone with suck news about it. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, well, maybe I'm not for it. See, it hasn't moved the needle for them. That's why it's bad news for the Democrats. So after Harry Enton said 83% of Americans want voter ID, photo ID, and proof of citizenship. CBS has just done a poll. Here we go. CBS News confirming it again. Do you favor or oppose requiring people to show valid photo identification before they are permitted to vote. What's right? What's hard of favor 80%, oppose 20%. I wonder who the 20 are. Like who this mystery group of people. Who are these people who don't think that we should have to prove that we're citizens and we are who we say we are? Of course, Democrats. So Democrats, by a margin of, 65 to 35, 65% of Democrats agree. Photo ID. GOP, Republicans, 95%. How about independents? 79%. Yep, they want it too. White voters, 80%. It's got to be the black voters who don't want it, right? No, black voters, 80%. Hispanic voters, 77%. This is not complicated, right? So what's going on? Why is John Thune so not a leader, right? Say what you will about Mitch McConnell. He's a weasel, right? He's nobody I would ever trust. But you know what he managed to do was whip the caucus into shape. He'd get everybody on board. If this is something that the president wanted, ostensibly, it would have been his job to get the votes. What does John Thune say? He's like, well, it's just a little difficult. I'm not so sure we can get it on the floor. Why is he so slow? Why was he selected? So I started doing some reading. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not really well versed on the whole who chooses the leader of the Senate, right? So Republicans took back the House in 24. Then behind closed doors, in some secret vote, the senators have to select the leader, right? Why is it secret? Why is it secret? Why is it the leadership that chooses? Kind of feels to me, it seems like something the American people should select. Because if the deep state is in charge of the Senate, certainly the Republican side of it, how on earth can you get a fair shake? You can't. So they're saying to us now, Mike Lee, senator from Utah, he's like, good news. The Senate's going to stay here all weekend, and we're going to try to get this across the finish line and get Mark Wayne Mullen finally okayed, right? It's not been that long, but it could drag if they wanted to drag like Department of Homeland Security funding. And so they're saying, we're going to stay here all weekend long. I know we only work, 20 weeks a year and only 3 days a week at best, but we're going to do what needs to be done. Well, let me just say real fast. Here's what needs to be done. Pass the damn bill. Pass the damn bill. Now, there are some other provisions which I thought were odd that the president wanted to add to it. No transgender, no dudes playing female sports, right? A few things that are common sense. Let's stop the transgender surgeries of children, things that are common sense. They tacked those on. The president did at the last minute. Why? I think he's going to negotiate those things out. I think he's going to litigate. He's going to have states determine what states want to do, and he's going to negotiate ultimately and say, okay, we'll take those provisions out. You're right. We'll pare it down. We'll meet you in the middle. Everybody gets something. You think that'll work? No, because they cannot allow this to pass. Pay attention to who does what in the next 48 hours. We'll see if they actually do their jobs. When we get back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the fake news failing again, saying this war in Iran is sketching out our neighbors in the Middle East who want to give money to America to invest and all this stuff. Oh no, they're going to pull their money. About that next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. 80% black, 80% white, 77% Hispanic. It's the chicks. God, what happened to you women? What happened to you? No wonder my kids don't date. Crazy women.
Bitches be crazy.
I'm saying it. My goodness, I'm saying it. All right, so some of you have tried freezedrywholesalers.com/Wendy. I really don't see this audience as being like that billionaire class that has those underground bunkers and the highest quality food so they can pull it off the shelf when everybody else is scrapping during nuclear fallout. I don't think that that's this audience. However, I see some of you as being fishermen or hunters or people who like to go on the road. Maybe you have an RV. Maybe you like to travel. Maybe you do things like that puts you out on the open highway. And you're like, you know what? It's very expensive to eat every single meal out. What if you had high quality food that lasts for 25 years, 300 different meals to choose from one website that does something innovative with their food by freeze drying it. You don't lose any of the nutrients, any of the value of the food or the flavor. All that you do is you extract the moisture. And then when you want to make a steak, since they're wholesalers, you go into your bag that has 6 or 7 New York strips in it, or ribeyes, or burgers, and you take them out and you rehydrate it, throw it on the grill, which is called adding water, right? Throw it on your Barbie and you're ready to roll. Some of the things you don't even have to do. They have freeze-dried sushi, freeze-dried fruit, freeze-dried bacon bits, and like boneless ribs. Like, what? Yeah. Something interesting, something different. Who knows? Maybe it could benefit you. freezedrywholesalers.com/Wendy. You're going to get, what is it? 15% off? 15% off. That's not a bad thing to try. freezedrywholesalers.com/Wendy. I always thought of food like this as being like cardboard and like sawdust, and you're like, blah, 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 blah.
It probably what I think they figured out it's like gluten free. You used to eat healthy, it tasted like garbage. Now,
so you get a bag like this.
I'm stealing that.
Of eggs, right? That's a lot of scrambled eggs. That could feed a family of 4, right? How about that? How about you don't have time to go to the store? You're coming back from a business trip. You got something you got to make. Oh, throw this in. Love it. Maybe not necessarily eggs, but they've got so many different foods to choose. They have a whole turkey dinner, including
nuts.
Cake, right? Freeze-dried green beans. What? Yeah. I'm telling you. Love it.
I like that there's no preservatives.
You know what? That is a really big point.
I mean,
I don't want to eat shite food.
Yeah.
So don't give me shite
good.
food.
The burgers were. If I'd had the burger and then you would have said that's freeze dried, I'd be like, no. But yeah, it was good.
It was good. So what are you doing this weekend?
Eating and drinking.
Are you?
Yeah. Didn't get a chance to go to the lake house last weekend, so we're doing it this weekend.
Oh, you're going to go up. Oh,
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Our mutual friend who owns disinfectwithsniper.com.
Yeah. So we'll be partaking in a bottle.
By the way, while we're
States.
talking about Sniper, we have a mutual friend who's in the hospital here in Pittsburgh this week. And so I sent a text to his wife, and I said, Brock and I are thinking about you guys. And she said, thank you so much. I brought my bottle of Sniper. So she's literally brought her hospital disinfectant to the hospital, which has got to be the germiest place ever, right? To make sure that
nobody goes to the hospital to get healthy.
To make sure that her husband is kosher and that everything is clean. Disinfectwithsniper.com. We joke about it, but it's not funny when you have staph infections, MRSA, you've got fungal infections and otherwise. Knock it out with Sniper. Disinfectwithsniper.com.
I had to give my back doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, he comes over. He goes, hey, I'm tired of using this Lysol. It's just horrible. I was coughing.
Lysol. Oh, yeah.
He says to me, he goes, give me that website again. I was like, disinfectwithsniper.com.
Right?
He's like, I'm just ordering it. He goes, how much is it? I said, you know what? I can't remember off the top of my head. I was like, but by the gallons, it's cheaper. And then you can just fill bottles. He's like, oh, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I was like, but first buy like 4 or 5 bottles.
Oh, my God. Got to have them in every room.
Yeah. I mean, they have tables they have to
Disinfectwithsniper.com.
wipe off. And
Let's see if anybody came close to the estimate of my house, the roof
yes,
I need.
a lot of people were saying 35 to 50, 35 to 40, 30 to 40. If you were under 30, I mean, please.
Gary Ireland. I have a tapestry of profanity to drop on that dude.
Can I be there when you do it?
No.
Because then he'll be all mad at you. Be like, hey, Gary, I kind of think
How
I'm
about
gonna
me
need
being
a
in
new
the
roof,
shower
too.
as he's on the roof and I see like he walks by one of the windows and I was like, ah!
How do you think if you'd have heard him fall, you'd have been like, ah!
So I look at the estimate from Ireland Contracting for our roof, and it's all the stuff that I tell you about. Owens Corning roofing materials, all of the stuff. It's like, we're going to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this.
We
And
got to
it's
get you the bourbon.
the Owens Ireland Contracting.com. You guys, you got to use them. I'm using them, and it's going to cost me $38K. That was the number.
Without the skylights.
Without the skylights.
That's going to be an extra 15.
38. To this conversation this half hour. So there was a very cute exchange yesterday at the White House between the prime minister, first female prime minister of Japan, and the president of the United States. And as you can imagine in Asian culture, right, there's a lot of bowing, there's a lot of formality, there's a lot of very kind of stoic traditions, not a lot of gushy, fangirl kind of stuff going on, except when it's the prime minister of Japan, who is a huge President Trump admirer. And it was very cute. We're going to talk about this and show you the video if you're watching the live video stream. Time for you to join us, wendybellradio.com. If you do that, you can be part of the whole video thing that we do all 3 hours every single day. Okay, before we get to that, though, there's been some reporting out there. Financial Times, some of the networks have reported that, oh no, not only is this strike on Iran going to do just a whopper to the oil prices on the planet, right? Not only is the oil going to just go through the roof, oh my God, can you imagine? That all of a sudden this investment, the pledges that some of our friends like from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, any of these countries, the president went and visited in the first few months of his administration. You'll remember that. The pomp and circumstance, the camels, the dancers, the food, and then, of course, the pledging. The president came home with something like $10 trillion in investment. But the scut is, in the mainstream media, that this war and some of the problems with the Strait of Hormuz and Iran making it difficult for tankers to get through, it's going to affect gas prices. And these countries are concerned about it. They're going to renege on their promises to give us their investment money. Well, apparently that's not the case. It's quite, in fact, the opposite. And I think you deserve, particularly on a Friday, a little debunking of the fake news and kind of a celebration of the bond that this president has created with all of these individual countries, these leaders. I mean, it's one thing to meet another leader through the culture. It's another thing to create a deep trust and a mutual respect in a short period of time. President Trump's got the secret sauce. He just does. And you're going to hear it here. Here's Lucas Tomlinson. He's a Fox News reporter, and he's basically saying, look, even though this attack from Iran on Qatar and their liquefied gas operation, they lost about a fifth of their capacity, their exporting capacity, it's not going to affect some of these commitments from these countries back to the United States. Listen.
The CEO of that Qatari gas field, the largest in the world, says 17% of his export capacity was destroyed in that Iranian strike, and it'll take 3 to 5 years to repair. And General Kane admitted earlier at the Pentagon there are still more targets to destroy.
They came into this fight with a lot of weapons. This is why we continue to be as aggressive and assertive as we can against their ballistic missile capability, both their medium-range ballistic range missile capabilities. So we are continuing to hunt and find them and kill them, and we will continue to do so. So they still retain some capability.
General Kane says A-10s, the old warhorse, are flying strike missions off the coast of Iran right now, destroying Iran's small boats used by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and Apache helicopter gunships as well. He also said U.S. jets are now flying deeper into Iran, flying further east. It's worth noting, Martha, that Iran was hitting oil facilities across the Persian Gulf even before these Israeli strikes. The amount of liquefied natural gas from the Persian Gulf that is shipped to American shores is effectively zero. The U.S. is now the largest LNG exporter in the world.
Yeah, we've got liquefied natural gas. We've been drilling, baby drilling. This has been something that the president has made very clear as a focus of his administration. The left has prevented him every step of the way. We don't need this. We don't have to worry about what's going on in these other countries, except you do. You do, because this president cares about all of these countries and he wants silly retribution to stop. And he said, look, no more attacks on these pipelines, no more attacks on these refineries, these processing facilities, these export depots, whatever. This is critical stuff. So you might think that Saudi Arabia would be perhaps a little bit nervous, UAE, about their commitment to Trump to make this commitment of trillions of dollars of American investment. Yeah, that's not the case at all. I thought there was a second clip, and it's coming.
In Saudi Arabia, Iran fired ballistic missiles at Riyadh while diplomats, ministers from neighboring Gulf countries and across the Middle East were meeting. Now, if anyone thought that Iran's attacks on the Gulf nations, and especially here in the UAE, would fracture the alliance and the special relationship with the United States, the UAE announced today that it will be moving forward with its $1.4 trillion investment in the United States. Recall, Martha, that President Trump was just here in the UAE as well as Riyadh and Doha in the spring receiving these massive investments, and they will go through, especially when it comes to air defense. More air defense are being shipped here, the Emirates.
Special relationship. Did Joe Biden have a relationship with anything other than his hyperbaric chamber? Honestly. Did George Bush create some kind of warmth with other world leaders? Was there some Does anybody else? Maybe Bill Clinton did it. Maybe. He was extraordinarily charismatic. And people I know who met him say he was one of those things, one of those people who, when he was talking to you, made you feel like there was nobody else on the planet. Nobody sucks the oxygen out of the room like Donald Trump. Nobody walks onto a stage and can command silence out of thousands of people like Donald Trump. Nobody could bring the first female prime minister, and her name, I'm going to botch it, I know, and I had to actually go and get a phonetic pronunciation. Her name is Sanae Takaichi. She's super cute. She comes to the White House, asks for, I guess, time with the president, right? They have a dinner, et cetera, et cetera. So you know how it comes, right? She's part of this group of 7 countries who heard President Trump say, look, we need help patrolling the Strait of Hormuz. Nobody wanted to come forward. And he's like, really? I don't need you. I don't need your help. But this is kind of a loyalty test. I want you to hear this video before I bring in this prime minister, because this is exactly what the president did, and it had a result. Listen.
Trump just ran the most brutal loyalty test in NATO history, and every single ally failed it. Iran shut down the Strait of Hormuz, 20% of the world's oil, gone. Prices spiked 40% overnight. So Trump went on Truth Social and called out his allies by name. China, France, Japan, South Korea, the UK. Send warships, protect the strait. You need it more than we do. The responses came back fast. Japan said, legally impossible. Germany said, not our war. Australia said, we won't send a ship. UK said, we won't be drawn in. Every country Trump named, zero commitment. Then Trump walked to the podium and said this, we don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. I'm not doing this because I need them. I'm doing it to find out how they'll react. Because I've been saying for years, if we ever needed them, they won't be there. For 40 years, America protected these countries, and they won't send a single minesweeper. This wasn't a coalition request. It was a loyalty audit, and they all just failed it in writing.
Oh my, a loyalty test that all of these countries, alleged allies of ours, failed on the world stage. So what happened yesterday? This mad scramble. A group trying to form a coalition to start thinking about what can we do together to help protect the Strait of Hormuz. It was, and these are some reluctant partners, namely France. France, the UK, Japan, Canada, the Netherlands, Italy, and Germany, right? They failed the test. They realized they failed the test. They scrambled to get together and say, okay, we're going to try to figure something out so that we can provide something, whether it's personnel or it's an aircraft carrier or it's whatever it is. Mr. President, don't think that we're not part of this, right? They're frantic. It just so happens that the Prime Minister of Japan has this trip to the White House. And I want to play the video as she gets out so you know how it comes. The president is standing there. You've seen the video of Zelensky and other people showing up. She gets out of the limousine and literally rushes to his arms and like gives him a hug. He's almost like caught off guard. This is not what a Japanese woman would do, but it is what you do when you're with President Trump. It is extraordinary. It is as extraordinary as I was trying to tell my neighbor across the street who's stressed out about working a full-time job and managing her children, right? It's extraordinary. It's special. And so they're in the Oval Office yesterday, which is fantastic. And there's a Japanese reporter who's asking President Trump he's got Sanae Takaichi sitting next to him, Prime Minister of Japan. And this Japanese reporter's like, you know what? We're kind of ticked off. We're allies of yours. We're supposed to be as Japanese. Why didn't you tell us that you guys were going to attack Iran? You didn't give us any heads up. And the president had the greatest response. And the Prime Minister, by the way, giggled as he said it.
Of course, no, Japan and US are very good friends. But one question, why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, no, you believe in surprise, I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right?
Can say things that other people could not say because of the relationships he creates. And this is through a translator, the Japanese prime minister explaining why she wanted to meet with the president and what she views of him in a broader context. Listen.
でも私は、世界の、繁栄とそして、平和に、貢献できる、世界中に、平和と繁栄をもたらせるのはドナルドだけだと思っています。
But even against that backdrop, I firmly believe that it is only you, Donald, who can achieve peace across the world.
そのために私は、諸外国に働きかけて、しっかりと応援をしたいと思っています。
And to do so, I am ready to reach out to many of the partners in the international community to achieve our objective together.
今日私はそれを伝えに来ました。
So today I came here at the White House to directly convey this message to you.
Do you see any other president in the United States history that would have foreign leaders coming, saying, please, I got the message, sorry, we're here to help? The warmth between them as she calls him Donald, he looks at her and he gives her a smile that is very special. And she shoots it back. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes there is nuance. And that's it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's call it this: a tale of two Bernies. He's got to be my favorite senator. Bernie Moreno taking down Bernie Sanders. Love it. Next. It was just, it was like listening to Mark Wayne Mullen talk about his experiences with Donald Trump. Not necessarily with President Trump, but it was beyond that. It was special, you know. CB Distillery, want to talk about special? Holy cow, the sleep aids, and you just heard me say from somebody, here it was. Where did she go? Did I put it over here? No. Oh, no, that's Ghost Bed for next week. I put it somewhere. I'm sorry, I lost it. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about cbdistillery.com. cbdistillery.com and the promo code RUMBLE. That's the key. Up to 50% off everything in the store right now, which is huge. So this is pain relief. Talk about pain relief. They have roll-ons, they have salves, they have gels, they have things that you could take to ease aching muscles, arthritic joints, things like that. Thank goodness. This is natural remedy, right? This is beautiful natural remedy. How about problems with stress and anxiety? Like, I don't want to take medicine to control how I feel. And CB Distillery has a calming, anxiety, relaxing formulation, a gummy that you can suck on and swallow, and then all of a sudden you're like, sort of like stepping into a spa or a warm bathtub. You're like, okay, I've got this. And then there's the sleep aid. Don't struggle falling asleep and staying asleep. I don't want to wake up and feel like I got hit by a truck because I drank NyQuil, right? cbdistillery.com. Promo code RUMBLE. Up to 50% off. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? Love them. Love, love, love.
So Darius in the chat said, what kind of discount can you get? I know you guys think she gets a Wendy Bell or a Brock discount.
I mean,
we use our sponsors just.
When I bought gold, like I didn't get.
No.
I didn't get any kind of a discount. I think they probably went the extra mile and found me. Probably they got me some coins from, like I just showed you. Damn you, Brock.
No, I will say I get Sniper, but he's my personal friend. So it's.
Yeah, I need a personal friend who's deeply involved with gold.
have it.
How you doing? I do. And it's wendylovesgold.com. Look, every podcast that's successful, I believe, attracts some kind of a precious metals company. But I strongly know I have the best. wendylovesgold.com. I bought twice, and I'm not talking about little kick in the can, like, here's $5. More than that. I got gold. Look at this beautiful coin. Look at that number, 1876. In 1876, this was $20. I just searched and I found one that says it was $8,200 or something like that. I think that's a little bit much.
Someone's getting pushed down the stairs.
But wendylovesgold.com. Ask about their principal protection program. It's the PPP you want. And this is you will never sell back anything you buy from them for less than what you paid for it. So if everything goes to hell in a handbasket and your silver the value goes down to zero, you're going to get your money back at a minimum if you sell it back. Like, who does that? Having gold. How are you doing? I always have it upside down.
No, you haven't.
I think that's right. Is that right? Look at that. Isn't that exquisite? Isn't she pretty? Imagine that.
Real nice in my house.
Imagine that right here on my neck. wendylovesgold.com. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. As always, a delight to spend time with you, especially on a Friday. All right, so this segment is kind of called The Tale of Two Bernies. Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio calling out Bernie Sanders. You know, I like Bernie Moreno. He has a very interesting perspective. As somebody who came to this country with his family from Bogota, became a citizen, he understands the jobs that the workers who are really being held hostage right now by this ridiculous Democrat shutdown, just to put the knives to the agents whose job, right, ICE agents, is to protect us and keep dangerous people who shouldn't be here out of our communities. But it just underscores the depravity, I believe, of the left, of any kind of pushback against removing these people from our country. And the only thing you can deduce is that the people who push back against getting rid of people who shouldn't be here want to cheat. They want to cheat. They want your money instead of going to your children or going to your retirement or your joy, going to people who shouldn't freaking be here. And that sucks. And it's wrong. And Bernie Moreno has had enough. So this clip begins, if I'm not mistaken, with Bernie Sanders. They're talking about, I guess, working families, right? Here's your socialist, independent senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, and he's talking about working families. We got to work for working families. And Bernie Moreno takes his time to speak to this chamber. And he's like, it's so curious that the senator from Vermont wants to talk about working families while screwing 250,000 households that are squeezed by this Democrat shutdown. What a jerk. Here is Bernie Moreno.
Maybe it's time we started worrying about working families and ordinary Americans. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Senator from Ohio is recognized.
So I actually would like to continue exactly the theme that my colleague from Vermont brought up. Except I think before we talk about artificial intelligence, we should talk about natural intelligence. And it absolutely goes against natural intelligence for us to sit here in this chamber knowing that we have 260,000 working American families who work for our government, who are doing their job and not getting paid. That, to me, is the crisis we should be talking about. And yes, I agree with my colleague from Vermont. We should not be worried about Mr. Musk or any of the other billionaires going hungry. I worry about our TSA agents going hungry. I worry about our Coast Guard people going hungry. I worry about the people at FEMA going hungry. And yet, with total disregard for over 250,000 families, we sit in this chamber and we're getting paid. Everybody here is getting paid, and yet they're not. And I applaud my colleague from Vermont who's walking out of the floor, caring about working Americans. Why don't we care about them? Why don't we fund DHS now? Why don't we worry about those families who, by the way, according to the last Secretary of Homeland Security, the last one said, and I'm going to quote here, the average TSA agent lives paycheck to paycheck. We've taken away 3 paychecks.
We've taken away 3 paychecks. We're supposed to be the leaders here in the Senate, he says. And then Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno delivers a blow that the Democrats in the chamber most assuredly felt.
3 paychecks we've taken away from them. If there's ever a time that we need to fund DHS, it's now. This is not a Republican secretary saying that. It's a Democrat Secretary of Homeland Security saying that. I don't understand how in a leadership role, which is what we are here in the United States Senate, we would allow the suffering of 260,000 families to go with this much contempt and instead fund DHS in its entirety. Allow those families to get paid. Mr. President, you were a business guy like I was. Could you ever look at yourself in the mirror when you owned your businesses and know because of your actions, the people who worked for you weren't getting paid and were suffering? It's impossible.
That was the blow. Of course not. Of course we would never run our business the way we run this government. But see, we're so used to never being held to account that we just do whatever the hell we want. Well, curiously, whatever the hell they want in the Senate means not moving anything quickly with the SAVE Act. However, Senator John Kennedy has a workaround that does not involve the filibuster. It does not involve 60 votes. It involves a standard form of business operation that everybody in the Senate knows about. I got it for you next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Oh.
It kicked on and then kicked off.
God, really? Okay. How's everybody? How are you doing? How are our comments? Who is being helpful? I appreciate you if you are. Thank you so much. Let's see what we got going on here.
12.
Okay, that's good. That's good. We're getting there.
Yes, Chuck Norris did die.
Oh, 86. You know, that's what I mean. It's like, You don't realize how good you have it when nothing is going really, really well or going really, really badly. It's just when your status quo is your status quo, it's like you don't realize how nice that is until something goes haywire and everything goes upside down. It's like you don't realize how nice it is just to feel normal until you're really sick. And then you're like, oh my God, all I want is not to have this headache or not to be queasy. Well, if it's a headache, Simkovich Concussion Institute. I have that. I take that very personally, the whole headache world. There's nothing that can destroy anything than a headache. You're down for the count. And if you, whether or not you had a traumatic brain injury, whether or not you've been hurt that you remember, if you suffer headaches commonly, that's not normal, please call Dr. Simkovich. I mean, it costs you nothing to call 412-366-3700. It costs you nothing to talk to the people there. And the thing I like about Dr. Simkovich, who, by the way, without surgery, without cutting into you, no blood, no needles, no like, woo, right? None of that. With his hands, heals people's brain injuries. How is that possible? Well, go to SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Call 412-366-3700. The people who he has working with him, even those who answer the phone, have been with him for like 20 years, and they understand the questions you're going to be asking. So you're not going to get some college kid or temp worker who's going to be like, I'll have him call you back. They'll be able to help you. Right? Don't make excuses. 412-366-3700. You know who you are. I'm the same way.
When you text Gary back, did you ask about the buy one roof, get one roof free deal?
No, I figured if you needed to try to hustle your own roof, you could go ahead and do that. I personally have 38,000 reasons why you should probably pay. But yeah, I don't know. And then Joe's like, I think it sounds high. I'm like, I know nothing about roofing. And I said to him, I'm like, it's Gary Ireland.
Yeah.
What Gary Ireland tells me if Gary Ireland is going to rip me off, IrelandContracting.com, then that's on Gary Ireland.
Well,
but
not just that.
But I've known this guy for years.
You can Google anything.
Yeah.
And they're going to give you, and you know what? It depends on where you live. It really does. Is there access? How hard is it to get to? There's a lot of things. How big your house is. You just can't. Is it one story, a 2-story?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people are like, it is high, but you don't know how big my house is.
It's huge.
No, it's not.
It's huge.
It's not huge.
How big is how many square?
I don't know.
feet?
Shut up.
It's over 3,000. That's a big house.
I don't know, but it's a lot.
It's a big house.
There's a lot.
No,
I don't know. What can you do? If I just stared at you guys, would that make you uncomfortable? You don't want to be a part of it. Brock's like, I'm not going to be part of your stupid little game. Hey, Kelly Morgan from Morgane's Fitness. I know people out there are getting the message. You're hearing what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is Kelly has created, and I think it kind of was spawned during COVID, when people were sketchy about going places and germs and all of that. She's like, look, this is a great time when you're stuck at home and you can't go to the job. Don't fall apart. Don't get fat. Don't be eating bonbons and sitting on the couch, right? Get busy. And so she created this idea of give her 90 days, right? Online. She's got the videos. She shows you the exercises, how to lift, how to do everything. And she'll help you get your life back. You put in the work. Like she'll give you the roadmap, but you've got to do the work. You got to gas up the car and you got to hit the gas, right? You got to go. Morgainsfitness.com, MORGAINZ fitness.com. It's unusual in that you can live anywhere in the United States and you can get on one of these programs with her because it's online. So hop on a Zoom or whatever it is these days and start your process. By the way, if you started before the end of this month with Kelly at More Gains Fitness, think about that. You're wrapping up right at the heart of bathing suit season. So whether it's 5 pounds, 20 pounds, you want to drop, you want to find your abdominal muscles again, moregainsfitness.com. People, before and after pictures have been dazzling. I'll just show you my favorite. You know who it is.
Is it the butt lady?
No. It's my favorite.
Show the can lady.
She's so cute. Look how cute she is. Oh my gosh, I love her. Look at her body here. 3 months. Okay? Look at her legs. Look at her abs. I'd have to suck it in big time. I'd be. That's where you wear those tummy panels. Why are your pants so high? Well,
because I don't want to. I don't want to have Dunlap disease where I'm
it's
belly
like pregnancy.
Dunlap over my belt.
Right. It's pregnancy underwear where you take it out of the dryer and you're like, because it's so big. It's like this. It's such a good look too. It's meant to go up over your belly, underneath your boobs. Yeah, it's a good look. I had a few pairs. How you doing? Brock said I look like I had an alien baby. Thank you, Brock.
With the twins.
Oh my god, so rude.
It like jetted out.
You try to squeeze 2 people in there.
It was weird.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes, and I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live. It's almost like in the last 24, 48 hours, there's been almost like this vacuum where any story about the Save America Act has kind of gone to die, like it's been memory hold. I don't know what's going on, nothing to see here. Maybe if we don't talk about it, people will stop asking for it. Yeah, that's not going to work. I said to Brock this morning as we were blocking the show, and I was like, I need to find like what's happened since yesterday in this Save America Act. And he went online, I went online, and we're both looking. And I'm like, there's nothing. What's happening? Is this like the White House ballroom, right? Where we're hot and heavy on it for like 48 hours, 72 hours, and then they find something else to go mill around and talk about? Is this like the Epstein files? I mean, that stopped. Why haven't we talked about that in a while? That disappeared in a heartbeat. It's amazing how we drop these stories. I did find one story, and I thought it was very curious. It's by NPR. Now, if we think for a moment, even though the ratings have collapsed, the subscription circulation has plummeted, that the media don't hold an oversized, supersized role in shaping public opinion, of course, we'd be stupid. It's disturbing. The enormous amount of influence. These people who 90% or more in journalism are libs. They just are. Try being in a newsroom. It's very hard when you're conservative. It is a lonely island. I was on it for many, many years in the industry. But it's interesting to hear how NPR, particularly this one guy, his name is Benjamin Swazi. He's the guy who's the author of this article. And he writes with some authority. He's going to shape the opinion of all of the libs who are left, who are still paying attention to NPR. And here's what he says. Title, headline, The SAVE Act faces long odds in the Senate. GOP-led states are picking up the cause. The U.S. Senate on Tuesday began consideration of the Save America Act, a sweeping election overhaul that would introduce new proof of citizenship requirements to register to vote among its provisions. The Republican-backed legislation is a top priority for President Trump, who has long railed falsely about widespread voting by non-U.S. citizens. Really? Who says, Benjamin? You? Some progressive guy in his 40s who went to Tufts, who grew up in Massachusetts, was probably indoctrinated by the school system there, and who now is working at NPR. You were a Boston editor at a television station. An editor, no offense against editors. This is not a thought leader. This is not a representative. This is not somebody with any kind of insider information. It's just a dude who's a Democrat who doesn't like Donald Trump. And so therefore, he can write in his own mind, the Republican-backed legislation is a top priority for President Trump, who has long railed falsely about widespread voting by non-U.S. citizens. Hey, Ben, really? He continues and says, and while the bill is unlikely to overcome Democratic opposition and the Senate's legislative filibuster, GOP-led states have taken up the cause. Florida's managed to pass proof of citizenship bills. Ron DeSantis is sitting on that to sign. Same with South Dakota. Same with Utah. Is this what's going to happen? Similar laws in recent years in Louisiana, New Hampshire, Wyoming, right? But not in the U.S. Senate. Not because of your Republican freaking party. Isn't it nuts? It's totally nuts. I want you to hear John Kennedy. So Senator Kennedy, he's known for his one-liners, his zingers. He's voted on some things in ways that I've disagreed with, what have you. It is what it is. But he said something yesterday that was interesting. He said, you know what? We can get this Save America Act across the finish line by doing something called reconciliation, which is just 50 votes plus one. He said, however, John Thune, Senate Majority Leader, Republican, won't put it on the floor. He's talking to Martha McCallum at Fox. And Martha McCallum, to her credit, she's like, why the hell not? Like, what does John Thune freaking do? What's his job? Isn't his job to get the president's agenda across the finish line? Because I just found an article from 2024 when he was voted in. He beat who? John freaking Cornyn. So who's worse, Thune or Cornyn? I don't know. It's a toss-up. But John Thune was like, as he was selected, he's like, our job is to get the president's agenda passed and move it across. Well, what the hell are you doing, John? Besides a whole lot of nothing. This is John Kennedy saying, let's do reconciliation. Here's how it goes.
But we've got to get 61 votes or 60 votes to pass this bill. There's a shorter way. I don't know why we haven't tried it. We ought to be doing it through reconciliation, which only requires 50 votes plus the vice president. I'm in the minority on that. The majority leader, who's my good friend, doesn't agree with me. A lot of
Why
Republicans.
not? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I have no idea.
I mean, there's 53 Republican senators, but, you know, it looks like, by my count, according to our reporters on the Hill, Tillis and Murkowski are likely no's. Collins would do the bill as is, which means only proof of citizenship and proof of ID, but none of the other stuff that has been, you know, hung on the Christmas tree, as John Fetterman said. McConnell, nobody knows. So it may be at 49.
Right.
You know, explain to us the dynamic between your argument and John Thune's argument on this.
Well, you don't have to be Einstein's cousin to see all this coming. And I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think we're going to get any Democratic votes. So how can you pass the bill without Democratic votes. You do reconciliation. Now, some of my Republican colleagues say we can't get it past the Budget Control Act, which controls what we can do in reconciliation. How the hell do they know? We haven't even tried yet.
How do they know? We haven't tried. Stop telling us everything that cannot be done, because you're telling us everything in those comments. So reconciliation lets Congress fast track fiscal bills, right? Mandatory spending, revenues, debt limit, things like that, through a budget resolutions instructions to the committees, and it bypasses the Senate filibusters for a simple majority vote of 51. It's a process that's commonly used. Congress commonly uses it. They're well aware of it. But he's talking about this Budget Control Act. Why? What is that, Senator Kennedy? Listen.
There are a lot of smart lawyers in this country that can draft a bill that I think can pass what we call the Budget Control Act and get past the parliamentarian. I've seen plenty of provisions get past the parliamentarian that I didn't think had a chance.
Right? So you're like, well, what does a Senate parliamentarian do? Well, that's the cat, and it's a woman named Elizabeth McDonough. She's been there since 2012, appointed by then Majority Leader Harry Reid. She's apparently supposed to be nonpartisan, and she's the official who advises the presiding officer, who's usually the vice president, on the Senate rules, the procedures, and all of the conduct on the floor during debates and votes. She also is the one who rules on points of order, on bill referrals to committees, amendments, debate limits, and things like that. She wields enormous, enormous power. Finally, John Kennedy, and we have to all ask ourselves this question. Who's this individual? Is this the best person for the job? How do you replace them? Is she doing what needs to be done? Can they get this through by reconciliation? Will she allow it to even happen? And so John Kennedy says, finally, like, why are some of my Republican colleagues unwilling to think outside the box or go a different path? It's almost like they don't want to stop illegals from voting.
But my point is, why not give it a shot?
Yeah.
If what we're doing is not going to work, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't hear any Democrats changing their mind. Then why don't we do something that will work? I mean, it's a matter of common sense to me, but I'm in the minority on this among Republicans. I freely admit that.
But you're saying if you could get it through on
sometimes the
reconciliation,
majority,
I'm sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
just going to say, I'm not in the majority on my side, but sometimes the majority just means all the fools are on the same side. I'm not calling my colleagues fools. I'm just saying, okay, where's plan B? Plan A may not work. Where's plan B?
Oh, I love him, but where's his push? Where's his fire? John Kennedy, where is your ire? Where is your move to rally people around, to put pressure on these Republicans? Is it all just some big old good old boys club? I think that's exactly what it is. And you and I are not part of it. We just pay the bills. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, this grand conspiracy probe into Democrat corruption to destroy President Trump. Oh boy, that heated up overnight. James Comey in the hot seat of a grand jury in Florida. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I hate people who suck. You know what? I think it's great. Much like I thought it was great that the wellness company came up as an offering to COVID, when we were all worried about legitimate medical advice we were getting from the medical leaders in this country, and that gave rise to the wellness company. You've got to love that Juvenon, which is the maker of bloodflow7.com that I love so much, and everything, by the way, at Juvenon, if you use Wendy30, you're going to get 30% off. I don't know if it's a mistake of theirs, because it's the greatest gift going right now. I'm just going to say. They saw everybody jumping on the bandwagon to lose weight. And they saw people jumping on the bandwagon for the shots, the weight loss shots. And they're like, not everybody's down with that. Not everybody can afford it. First of all, it's expensive. And if your insurance doesn't cover it, you're like super duper. And number two, right off the heels of COVID and the vaccine that has so many questions, a lot of people aren't that trusting of pharmaceutical anything. this is the perfect answer, because this supplement from Juvenon, bloodflow7.com/Wendy, you'll find it there, GLP-1 Gold. This is an offering, like more of a natural way to get your brain to communicate with your gut and say, you know what, you don't need to eat anymore, to cut your cravings, to cut your appetite, to help you trigger that reaction, the GLP-1 Gold way. I'm not going to sit here and try to litigate one versus the other, shots versus not shots, but this is an option, and it's an affordable option. You can do this for like $34 a month. It's a pretty good deal. I'd much rather try this and see how this works for a period of months, see if I lose weight, and this is for significant weight loss. GLP-1 Gold. I love them. Juvenon.com or bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Everything they do, I believe in them. It's like Ireland contracting. If Dan or Gary says, I know him and I don't think he would try to screw me over. So.
Well, you saw Dan's quote. Was
And it
right
was-
along the lowest one. So
It's important that I have them out of my house every now and again so I can, right?
I think one of the leaks in my house is above the station, the Wendy Bell Radio home studio office of Brock. Just saying.
Your home studio is a room in which you smoke cigars.
That doesn't mean anything. It's still a home studio / work area. Office.
So what are you trying to say? That like there's some compensation one should have, assist with the damages?
Just throwing it out there.
Or you can work harder and make more money.
I don't have time for a second job.
Oh, is that so? You're just so busy pushing the buttons.
What about all the work I do at home?
Exactly. I'm sorry, I'm not with you, so I wouldn't know.
Well,
I don't know. I love you guys. How's the rumbling? How is anybody out there telling me I'm fabulous? Because clearly that's necessary. All right, why am I getting kicked out? 5,100 people. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. That is fantastic. Yeah. Remember when they came out, they're like, look, we're going to do this grand conspiracy thing. And people are like, oh, it sounds so special and important. Well, the grand conspiracy, I think, has to do with timing. I think a grand conspiracy can take you back 10 years, right? Statute of limitations is usually 5. So if you hatchet somebody to death 5 years ago, whatever, that's terrible. I know, I'm so dark. That there's a limited amount of time that you can really hold somebody's feet to the fire in a legal fashion, right? Grand conspiracy, well, that opens the door to other things. And the grand conspiracy that was dropped, the deep state should have felt the pressure. And I'll tell you right now, James Comey does. I'm going to read you from Axios. I like to give you the left's interpretation of what's going on, because I'll give you the counterpoint over here on the right. Axios says, James Comey subpoenaed in alleged grand conspiracy, and that's in quotes, against Trump. There's a reason why it's written like that. James Comey subpoenaed an alleged grand conspiracy against Trump. Everything they do is to try to con you into feeling a certain way. Look, I'll tell you the way I feel. That if you're part of a government that's so pathetic, depraved, vindictive, and idealist, you're so rudderless that you have to go out there and concoct dirt to destroy your political opponent, whom you then go to impeach for doing the same thing that you're doing, even though he didn't? There's a special place in the embers of hell for you to roast. James Comey. Former FBI Director James Comey has been subpoenaed in the wide-ranging, quote, grand conspiracy case against the ex-officials who investigated and prosecuted President Trump. Two sources with knowledge of the situation say to Axios. The investigation has produced more than 130 subpoenas since cranking up last year and targets top officials who worked under former presidents Obama and Biden. Those officials, including Comey, have all decried the investigation as political persecution and lawfare. What did J.B. Pritzker just come out? Some Project 2029 garbage? What is that about?
Yeah, to Project 2029 to prosecute Trump and everyone in his administration.
Why ever would they do that? It sounds like political retribution. It sounds like weaponizing the government. Oh, that's right. They don't do that. Well, the Trump administration's grand conspiracy theory, according to Axios, posits that Democratic officials bent the rules, broke the law, and lied under oath to investigate, prosecute, and otherwise undermine Trump from his election in 2016 through his federal indictments in 2023. The Comey subpoena, issued last week, though we're just hearing of it now, relates to his alleged role in the drafting of a January 2017 intelligence community assessment concerning Russia's election interference that favored Trump. Well, it's interesting because we told you yesterday, John Solomon did, right? That they're the intelligence community that was during the Trump administration supposed to look at various threats from foreign governments into our elections, etc., found actionable alarms with Chinese meddling, like Chinese hacking of our voter rolls. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like it might be complicated. Is that a problem? Is that a problem? That's a problem. How about China? China. How about them sending over what? Thousands and tens of thousands of fake driver's licenses? How about China sending over bogus ballots? You think that's a problem? I think that's a problem. And we learned about that this week, that the intelligence community under President Trump in his first term was withholding information because they didn't like him. They thought he was a vulgarian, that vulgarian in the Oval Office. I'm not going to share information that might assist this gauche guy. Who does he think he is? Coming in here as an outsider to try to drain the swamp and expose the deep state? Yeah. And now James Comey, who found seashells in the sand. I was out with my wife. Oh, it was such a beautiful day. And then we stumbled upon this odd formation in the sand. What's that? We thought as we squinted to focus in on the dazzling array of seashells. 86-47. I don't know what that means. It's just so weird. Grow up. Sit down. And face the grand jury music, James. Because you know who's looking over your shoulder, worried about what you're going to say in the secret proceedings that nobody will know about? John Brennan, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. Do you want to go on? Adam Schiff. When we come back, let's dig in a little bit to this subpoena of Mr. Comey's. Feels good. Next. I'm feeling sassy today. Literally, I'm panicked, though. A little panicked. Completely out of my MC2 wellness. If you could lose weight by drinking a drink, at least it would help you, right? So think about it. Maybe you're trying one of these other products and you're like, look, I've got to drink water anyway. I've got to drink a lot of water. Why don't I take a scoop of Dr. Gundry's magic elixir that helped him lose all that weight? This is going to be a 1-2 punch. I can't lose. Well, you're going to have a lot of help with your cravings. You're going to have a lot of help with all of that sort of stuff, that whole cycling of eating and not feeling full. Well, it stops with a dietary supplement from Dr. Gundry. He says he's seen thousands of people lose significant weight on. MCT Wellness is what it's called. It is delicious. It comes in 3 flavors. You can find it by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. You'll notice that this whole thing of losing weight, firming up, and controlling not having pharmaceutical products in your body and going to the right physicians who aren't quick to just write prescriptions out. It's very much a theme of what we do here. And I know a lot of you are going to have great success with Dr. Gundry. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. She better hurry up, stat. Need some. I got to go to the bathroom. Do you have to go?
No.
Do you mind if I?
No. Why would I care if you go?
Can we? Oh, hold on. I need the tan. You guys ready? It's super sunny out today. Okay. I feel so much better.
Go to the bathroom.
Okay.
There will be a pet show tomorrow, 10 a.m. If you have questions, you can ask right there in the stream. Free pet advice. No Sundays with weekends with Wendy. Soccer tournament. But there will be a pet show. So if you have a question, best you ask in Rumble, in the chat. But you can also email me, wbrbrock@gmail.com, wbrbrock@gmail.com.
Here's what I found.
Oh. Found something I wasn't looking for. I have to go take care of my brother's house after the show. The one that had a tree fall on it. You know, since we don't have an insurance sponsor, I know it's their job not to pay out.
Oh, gale force wind again.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I got to clean that deck. Insurance companies. The lady's sitting there saying, "Oh, I see 6 boards broken." I said, "I'm going outside." And, you know, my brother lives 3 hours away, and it's a rental property, and he can't just drive 3 hours to clean off his deck. So I said, "I'll do it." When I was over there talking to her, when he was on the phone, it was 6. When I was there, it was 15.
Did you tell him what you're talking about?
Yeah, the deck.
Oh.
The boards, individual boards. And I'm like, all I did was kick a few things aside. Well, I can't really look at it until it's cleaned off. I'll come back in 2 weeks. I said, I'll have it done today after work. You can come back tomorrow. Like, it's their job. It's ultimately their job to screw you. And I get it, but
so disappointing.
How many people make claims? Really? Like,
there's got to be a financial incentive to the adjuster who comes out and screws you.
Has to be.
I could have fecal matter floating through my basement, and they'd be like, "Well, I don't know if it's sewer related." And
here's a quick one. So the retaining wall even fell after the storm. The ground moving, right? She says, "I'm like, well, hey, what about this?" And she's like, "Well, it looks like a car hit it." I'm like, good, then find a police report, because they had to drag the car out of here. And she's like, well, I'm like, fact is, it wasn't like this before the storm. It's now like that after the storm. A car did not hit it.
Yeah, I have to talk to Gary about that.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, how's that storm damage on my roof?
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I guess. I guess that looks like earth movement.
Literally,
I
you
like
could
to
ask
dicker.
people. You could ask people right now. When have you ever gotten even a fraction of the insurance you've paid for your home or whatever? back?
Never.
And then when you need them, they're like, "Oh,
I have this. I have
And
that.
you're
Oh,
like, oh.
$1,500.
Yeah.
Oh, great, because the bill was $5,000.
yeah." And if I get it, money from you, then my rates go up.
Right.
That's going to be fantastic. So it's a wash for me. I'm still out the 5, and I just took a wash right on my rate. Thanks. I love everyone. It's almost like we're a little salty today.
You, not me.
You're not. Anybody out there who thinks President Trump is not clearly holding all of the cards, all of the files, and I'm not just talking about Crossfire Hurricane and the missing binder that they shredded through Mar-a-Lago to try to find. Hurry, find it. He knows everything. He knows the Steele dossier was garbage. He knows we wiretapped everything. He knows we spied on his campaign. He knows it all. Yeah, it's almost like he knew shortly after he took office in 2017. Because you guys know how long James Comey was the director of the FBI when the Biden administration, or rather the Obama administration and the Trump administration switched, right? He was there for a hot second. He was there for a ham sandwich, 4 months. It was May of 2017. And Trump was like, this guy is a loser. He's a danger. He's fired. You're fired. How dare you? Right? President Trump fired James Comey via a termination letter dated May 9th, 2017. Literally less than 4 months after he took office. He's like, this guy sucks. In the letter, Trump wrote, quote, while I greatly appreciate your informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you are not able to effectively lead the Bureau anymore. He later told NBC's Lester Holt that the Russia probe factored into his decision, calling it a made-up story, and he privately told Russian officials Comey was, quote, a nut job whose firing relieved pressure. Okay, so that was 9 years ago. This president has known all about James Comey and his colors for a while. So we've now entered the accountability phase of the Russia collusion investigation. It's moving as Jim Comey is being basically treated as a witness to appear before a grand jury. So John Solomon, Just the News, he's got the question that everybody is asking. Did the outgoing Obama administration create an entirely fake intelligence assessment using the bogus Steele dossier? Garbage, right? This is the dossier that alleged Trump wanted to sleep in a hotel room that Barack and Big Mike slept in. I'm gloves off. I don't care anymore. They're dirt bags, right? And that he had prostitutes that he hired to urinate him. That's so exactly what I picture Donald Trump doing. I'm married to a supermodel, but I super want skanky prostitutes to pee all over me in a bed that Barry and Big Mike slept in. Like what? That's out there with E.G. and Carol. I have to have you right now in this rando department store. Let's go. I'm going to bust down the door. I have to have you, right? Said nobody who hasn't suffered severe brain trauma. Okay, so John Solomon with the question everybody is asking: did the outgoing Obama administration create fake intelligence to throw landmines, to plant IEDs, to lob missiles at this ingoing Trump administration because they're deep staters who are dirty as stones and who knew that Donald Trump could not be bought? I'm going to go with yes. Here's John Solomon.
Does he have evidence that the intelligence community was politicized in 2017 against Donald Trump? Remember, there's an intelligence community assessment done, just as Barack Obama's leaving office. The FBI, 4 months into their Crossfire hurricane investigation, can't find any proof that Donald Trump was a Russian stooge or a spy or doing anything to conspire with Russia. So they want to leave the Trump presidency in a difficult position by coming out with an intelligence committee assessment saying, we agree that Russia tried to help Donald Trump win the election. Now, most of the intelligence analysts in the committee disagreed with that. The only way they were able to get that in was getting the Steele dossier. James Comey's going to be asked, did John Brennan ask you to get him the Steele dossier? Were you working together with him to get the Steele dossier to be underlying the document? If that is his testimony, if that's what he ends up saying, John Brennan has claimed he didn't use the Steele dossier in that document and wasn't interested. It would be potentially the best evidence against John Brennan that he may have given false testimony to Congress. He denies that, but that's what they're looking at. That's a situation where it looks like the Intelligence Committee put politics over country.
Giving false testimony. He denies that. Yeah, so does Tony Fauci. So does Chris Wray. So does Hunter Biden, right? So did Bill and Hillary. Got it. Well, remember John Brennan, former CIA director. He's the guy who led the weaponization of the federal government against President Trump. He's the guy who lied and said that the CIA did not want to use the fake Steele dossier as part of its intelligence assessment that formed the entire baseline of the feds going after Trump. It was Brennan himself who signed off on using the dossier. Here's Fox's David Spunt picking up the ball.
This is a grand jury probe being run out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Miami, Florida. We're told federal prosecutors who work in that office are in close coordination with federal prosecutors at the Justice Department headquarters here in D.C., and they are preparing subpoenas. Now, it's not new information that the former CIA Director John Brennan is under investigation. We first reported so in July. What is new, Shannon, is there's actual grand jury activity taking place related to Mr. Brennan. Now, it's not clear exactly what DOJ officials are probing, though. Brennan is frequently mentioned alongside former FBI Director James Comey in their involvement in the Trump-Russia investigation. Mr. Comey is already facing federal charges relating to allegations that he lied to Congress. Now, he was charged in Northern Virginia. That case is scheduled for trial in early January. The Justice Department, though, is declining to comment on any John Brennan grand jury probe questions, which is not unusual, as you know, because grand jury proceedings are secretive. Here is Brennan over the summer after he first learned he was under investigation.
Quite frankly, I'm really shocked that, individuals who are willing to sacrifice their reputations, their credibility, their decency to continue to do Donald Trump's bidding on something that clearly is just politically based.
Right. MSNBC even has to admit that Barack Obama may be in the crosshairs of Florida's special grand jury, investigating the conspiracy to weaponize intelligence agencies against Donald Trump. Andrew Weissman, who helped on the original Russia hoax as a top Mueller team prosecutor, explains on the air how the grand conspiracy legal theory is designed to reach back and potentially subpoena Obama. He admits the strategy may actually circumvent the statute of limitations. This is where Nicole Wallace looks like her lips have gotten even thinner. Go.
The idea of this grand conspiracy is the way that they can try to get over the problem of the statute of limitations, and also why they can somehow bring this in Florida. The piece about the statute of limitations, to get a little wonky, is something about the conspiracy has to have happened within the last 5 years. So if you're trying to go after Jim Comey or John Brennan for something that happened well past 5 years ago, you have to be able to say that some part of the conspiracy they were part of happened within the last 5 years. And then second, to get it to Florida, they have to somehow say that the Florida Mar-a-Lago case is part of the conspiracy. In other words, there's something that happened in Florida, and that's sort of the only thing I can think of that would be able to tie it to Florida.
I'm totally mystified. Like, why ever would it be in the Southern District of Florida? Like, Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade, why ever would it be there? Oh, I don't know. August 22nd, 2020, what was it, 2 or 3, the raid of Mar-a-Lago that they lied about? I didn't know anything about it, said Joe Biden. No. What? Raid? Marijuana? No, Lago. And then, of course, it comes out. Yeah. Of course we did that. We were looking for the binder of all of the declassified stuff that Trump was going to release as he walked out of office on January 20th, right, of 2021. But he had it, and he has it somewhere. Where is it? We looked at Mar-a-Lago. We couldn't find it, so we put a bunch of papers on the floor and made it look like we were doing something super official and that we found a bunch of stuff. Can you imagine? Oh, it's so unbelievably irresponsible, said Joe Biden, who was sitting next to freaking files in his what, garage and in his library, right? John Solomon comes back. He's like, look, this grand jury is not just investigating 2016, the landmines, the lies, all the traps the outgoing Obama administration laid for Donald Trump to stop him, right? We're investigating 2020, the intelligence community's anti-Trump bias, letting them play up reports of Russian interference, downplaying reports of Chinese interference. John Solomon's audit like white on rice.
Now fast forward to 2020. The very same issue is at hand. We now know that the intelligence community had an ombudsman, and this ombudsman looked at how the intelligence community assessed election meddling by foreign powers in the 2020 election. And what they found was that Russia and China did about the same amount of meddling in the 2020 election, but that the intelligence community decided to double down on Russia, i.e. the Trump narrative, and underplay and belittle the same evidence that showed that China was beginning to take active measures, like hacking in and getting data from our voter registration databases, doing some early influence campaigns, maybe sending some driver's licenses that could be used to file fake ballot registrations. What the ombudsman concluded was that political bias led the intelligence analysts to downplay and hide the China intelligence from the country, from the Congress, and possibly from the president. And specifically, the reason they knew of the bias is that their own communication said, I don't want to help that vulgarian in the Oval Office. That was one of the analysts' communications to his fellow colleagues, clearly showing that they were willing to put politics over the intelligence interests of a president, a commander-in-chief, and a country. Both of these cases are really symbolic of the concern that our intelligence community became weaponized and politicized in that period from Obama to Biden.
Obama to Biden. Biden is part of this, right? Who took money from the Communist Chinese Party? Joe Biden. Who was in partnership with the CCP? Joe Biden. Even though, of course, he never, ever talked to Hunter about his overseas business dealings. It is so odd that China would give Hunter and Joe, by the 10% that he gets as the big guy, diamond, car, money. What exactly was Joe Biden selling to the Communist Chinese Party? I don't know. That's going to come out, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe, just maybe, the House Oversight Committee has been preparing all of the goods that the grand jury in the Southern District of Florida is now so enjoying to leaf through. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you guys hear about this? A Republican governor, kicked out of a restaurant for making the employees feel uncomfortable. Oh my, next. I think it's very interesting. I think.
So on Twitter, X, reporting the Houston TSA lines now stretch to a mind-blowing 150-minute wait time.
And that's probably even with pre-check. If you have that bypass.
2.5 hours. That's right. Yeah.
Hence why Bernie Moreno wanted to. And then there's Bernie Sanders walking out of the chamber. Sort of like who is it? Mark Warner, Democrat.
Yeah.
Chatting during Bernie Moreno's conversation with Mark Wayne Mullen. Go ahead and talk. When you're finished, we'll continue our conversation. Didn't you ever get caught out talking in school and your teacher was like, I guess we'll continue after Ms. Bell is finished with her very important conversation. I'll be like, and you're like, oh, that feels really embarrassing.
I used to beg the teachers not to call home. If it was bad in school, it was 10 times worse at home because you embarrassed them.
Well, there's no conversation. It was not at my house. Nobody cared about my perspective. Why don't you tell us what you say happened? Never once came out of my parents' mouth.
Well, what you
Mrs. Cassini, she called. She called. We know what happened.
What kids don't understand, or parents are like attorneys when it comes to questioning them. They don't ask questions that they don't know the answer to. So it's like, I learned at a young age.
Yeah, you have me confused with somebody who doesn't know what's going on.
Choose your words wisely. Don't lie, because I probably know what really happened.
If there is something that you notice in your life that makes you feel old, it's walking up the stairs and being like, ugh. Have you ever felt so like exhausted or like lack of energy that it's like the idea of squeezing a tube of toothpaste, you're like, ugh. I have had phases of that, and it's super discouraging, particularly if you're trying to exercise, get the heart rate up, do one of something that involves actual stamina. Not having it sucks, and it makes you feel old. And then I started taking bloodflow7.com/Wendy. And everything changed to the point where I have bought it now to give it away to people. Literally. If there's someone I see who's struggling, if they trust me, I'm not going to just rando, but I tell people I've been taking something. It's nitric oxide. There's nothing special. There are no bells and whistles. It's not some like wild formula. It literally is this particular molecule that opens up your blood vessels in your arteries, so more blood can flow through, which is why when people who get plaque from cholesterol and whatnot, there's lack of blood flow, they're like, like dragging to get anywhere. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy, by far the best thing I've taken for just sheer every day. I got this every day. Every day I can walk it. I can lift it. I can push it. I can outlast it every day. And I take it. Consistency is it. Right now, you can get a month of bloodflow7.com. I kid you not, for $24. Why wouldn't you try it? Take it every single day for a month, and then text or email me, wendybellradio@gmail.com. I put my name on this. That's how much I believe in it. wendybellradio.com. Email me, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. That's like... Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. You know, I remember when they were kicking around some ideas for vice president. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is, I think, one of the coolest. I don't even know what to call her because I don't want to pigeonhole her into one thing. Governors, no. Politicians, I don't know. There seem like people who are lifers, people like Chuck Schumer. Right? I think he went to Harvard Law, never practiced a day in his life, bounced right over to the Senate, and he's done nothing ever since. Dude has never had an employee. He's never worried about insurance, hasn't had to meet payroll, hasn't had to make sure he's got unemployment insurance, workers' comp. He failed right into the Senate, where he's been a malignant pain in the you-know-what ever since. Then there's people like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, right? Somebody who was tapped during the first Trump administration as press secretary, did that for a while, had a young family. It was an awful lot. And then went out, ran for and won as governor of the great state of Arkansas. She is a very interesting woman. She would be the role model of any young girl in this country, period. All that. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders says she was asked to leave a Little Rock restaurant after staff claimed her presence made employees uncomfortable. Now, there's grace in this governor that I probably would not have at all. I have zero tolerance for loser, liberal chicks who pretend that they get frustrated by everything because they suck. Because they long ago stopped going out there, believing in themselves, going out, turning off CNN, getting off of their news feed of blue sky, right? And being outraged and going to protest with no kings, right? These people believe that their voice of malignancy, of insanity, of Trump derangement trumps everybody else's right to go and have a meal wherever they want. And these people are a scourge. They're an embarrassment. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders took the high road. She described the incident, which took place at the Croissanterie restaurant in Little Rock. I hope they get what's coming to them. 0 customers. She said, last week, this is Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas. Last week, I was having lunch with 2 other moms at a restaurant. Imagine that, right? When the owner approached a member of the state police executive protection detail and said, my presence made their employees feel threatened and told us to leave. She says, Arkansans are known for their warm hospitality. And while that restaurant didn't meet that standard, my administration will continue to focus on lifting Arkansans up, not tearing others down. According to her office, the group had been dining for roughly an hour and 15 minutes. They'd already paid their bill and had tipped staff before the request was made. Oh, we just can't handle you. Our workers, they're so triggered, they need you to leave. Right? And then the chick who owns the restaurant, the Croissanterie, she posts a picture with herself and 4 of her, workers. Like giving a thumbs up, like, oh yeah, we stuck it to her. We told her, she made us uncomfortable. We stood up. Yeah. You realize the rest of the civilized universe, of which you are no longer a card-carrying member, are looking at you with pity. I pity you. If this is your hill to die on, like, woohoo, come around, kids. Let's take a picture. Woo! Here's us. This is my selfie. Here's us embarrassing ourselves in front of the governor of Arkansas. Click. I'm so proud. That's called derangement. That's called lunacy. That's called unfortunate. Right? And Sarah Huckabee Sanders taking the high road. She's like, it's unfortunate. Doesn't diminish the work that we do to care about the people of this great state. How does the left compete against that? Like, how can you tell me in any world it's going to be a nail biter? Oh my gosh, the midterms, nail biter. Everybody wants what the Democrat candidates are doing. They can't wait for their areas to suck as much as California and New York, right? It's going to be a photo finish down to the wire. Who's it going to be? Oh, no, there's been a water main break. We have to shut off the counting. But we'll be back with you tomorrow morning. Promise. Right? They ultimately made the decision to support their employees and guests who expressed they were uncomfortable because there's a Republican governor, a mom, sitting at a table with other moms, enjoying a meal, God forbid. We regret being placed in this position. That's it. You see here the victim? We regret being placed in this position. It's not our position. They came in here and we're affected by it. It shouldn't have happened. They should never come back. Well, Kathy Hochul said that too to the rich people, Republicans primarily in New York, and said, you're not really a New Yorker. Get out of here. Get on a train. We don't need you. Go to MAGA and Florida. And so they did. And now she's like, oh, snap. Come back. Come back. Well, good luck, Croissanterie. I hope your sales flatline. When we come back, hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell Radio. I'm having way too much fun with this. I'm sorry. When we come back, hour number 3, Democrats scramble to distance themselves from one of their greatest heroes who ends up being a child rapist. Next. What an embarrassment. It's like the Penzi douchebags. Penzi Spices down in the Strip District and also around the country because it's a chain.
Like how they waited.
And
till
they're
they
like,
paid.
you're not allowed to come into our store if you're a Republican. And I'm like, your store sucks. Super overpriced. And you just absolutely put a gun to your neck because we actually spend money. We spend a lot of money, right? What do you say all the time? Republicans buy, liberals rent?
Yes.
All right. I don't have to buy
I'm
your
wise
stupid,
beyond my years.
I don't have to buy your stupid ass spices. I don't have to eat at your dumb store. Whatever. We'll go spend our money and help people who we support, who share our values and just don't suck. Right? That's a problem. That's not a problem. All right. I'm going to pull up an article on collagen. I'm going to go to Perplexity. I do love that website. I love how they've advertised with us for like 2 seconds and got me hooked on their stupid website, their stupid search engine. And then they're like, man, we're going to do something else. Okay, whatever. I like your app, though. Here we go. Why is collagen so important? Let's go. Let's see what it says together. Because I've been taking Native Path collagen, and it's extraordinarily expensive right now. Everything's on sale. I think it's up to 45% off. They've unlocked this. I got in touch with them. I'm like, look, I need collagen. I've been woeful about it. I'm 55. I'm going to be 56. I'm of slight build. I am a complete candidate for osteoporosis. I'm worried about bone density. I've got crepitus in my knee, so it's that crackling. It doesn't hurt, but you can feel it. It makes noise, and it's like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm starting to get that weird old lady skin, and I'm like, no. So I started doing research. I'm like, what about it? And like, how about your sponsor that you've had for years before? Native Path, getnativepath.com/Wendy. This is it. This whole big jar of it, a scoop or two in your drink, whatever, dissolves immediately. This is so legit in your fight against getting older. 100%. Hair, skin, nails, bones, joints, cartilage, all of it. Biggest protein in your body. So great. It's the most abundant protein in your body. It acts like the glue that holds your tissues together and keeps them strong. God forbid we should possibly take care of them. So this is my jam. And when I got in touch with them, they're like, I really like what you're doing. So we're going to give you a special super duper discount. Yeah, you can drink this for a whole month, 2 months probably, for like a quarter a day. That's what it is. Getnativepath.com/Wendy. What about it? It says it gives structure, strength, and elasticity to your skin, your bones, your tendons, your ligaments, your cartilage. Come on over. Cartilage, your blood vessels, skin, and skin and aging. As you age, collagen production drops, leading to drier skin, wrinkles, and less firmness. Collagen helps maintain skin hydration, elasticity, and smoothness. Right? Why not? Why not? For like a quarter a day. Is it worth it? Hells yeah. So I've gone from 10. I'm going to go from 10 to 20 next week. I love how your wife takes yours, so you take mine. So essentially, I'm the bank, and you guys are both screwing me over. Whatever. However, I have to say I do kind of like Brock today. Not a lot, just a little bit.
What I do?
You found a very cute good news.
Someone sent it to me.
Who? Find out who and give him a shout out.
Glow.
Glow! Woo, woo, woo. It's one of my faves. It's one of my faves. It's 2 minutes and 41 seconds, which is a skosh longer than he normally does.
Well,
but it has multiple.
I have to give an answer. Are we doing Christmas ornaments like we'd planned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
We'll have to figure out how many you want.
Is this your JP?
Yeah.
$150? What were you thinking? 100? You were thinking
of
200.
You?
Oh, these are the separate
or
ones.
total?
Can we do? They're not two-sided.
Well, it all depends how you want to design it. Do you want
because
one
if
on
it
each side?
dangled, then it would turn around.
Well, they don't really dangle.
Oh, Yeah, they do.
It's gonna be flat.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted like a
I'm gonna
Merry
try.
Christmas on the back or facts or it's asking a lot.
Oh, Gary, screw him over at that roof. So we're gonna see.
You should have an ornament shaped like a bell. So these ornaments are cut in metal. So they're metal. And the one that looks like an ornament, like a circular, is probably what we're gonna go with. So you just need to decide if you want it. Because if it's flat, it's not.
I don't
really
want to
gonna
do
spin.
me versus you again.
Oh,
so I don't want to do that. I don't think that's necessary. I don't know. What do you guys think? Well, we ask them. They're the ones who always decide. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. By the way, this is Tulip Blooms. I'm just gonna say, get Tulip Blooms with an S.shop /Wendy. Go to the Soothe tab, drop it down. Velour massaging oil. Look, you're going to see those fine lines and wrinkles in my neck go away. I don't know. I don't know what we want to do with that.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think? Just spit it out. What were you going to say?
I was going to do one of each, right? And then make it to where we'll talk about it later.
Four, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live, and my shameless self-promotion. Remember, if you haven't gotten our podcast, if you have to leave and you miss something we say, if you get our podcast downloaded onto your device, Wendy Bell Radio, wherever you get podcasts, you're not going to miss a bit, and you're going to help us as we get ever closer to 8 million podcast downloads. It's crazy. Hit 7.5 million this week, and thank you. Appreciate you so much. So Democrats are scrambling to distance themselves from one of their greatest heroes, Cesar Chavez. I've always called him Cesar Chavez. Well, apparently he raped young women during the course of his labor movement. Rah, rah. And I don't know what is more disturbing about this story. That it happened, or that the women who it happened to, who were girls at the time, didn't want to blow him in because they didn't want to diminish the movement. Well, we need to have a very serious question as humanity, and I don't think it's anything that's new. I think, though I don't understand it, sex is I guess it's a primal driver. It does not give anybody an excuse to do what this man is accused of doing to anybody. However, we have to have a talk about sex and children and how vile it is and how unacceptable it is. This is why I told my neighbor, the greatest job you will ever have in your life has nothing to do with a W-2. It has everything to do with what's going on at your house every single moment of the day and how you protect your kids. Democrats scrambling as leftist icon is hit with bombshell child rape allegations. Farm worker rights icon Cesar Chavez, who led the battle to unionize agriculture labor, is being accused of sexual abuse involving underage girls. A report in the New York Times cited accounts from multiple women, several of whom were underage at the time, who were either intimidated or forced to have sex with Chavez. The report led to calls for the legacy of the liberal icon to be reconsidered. You know, this is an interesting story. I believe people like Joe Biden, Jill Biden, the Clintons, the Bushes, the Obamas, I think all of the people who I have said will ultimately, justice will tell us, and will leave in that World Book Encyclopedia next to their names an asterisk that overrides everything they allegedly accomplished. And it will just say disgraced. Because that's how this cat's going down. And they're watching the erasing now. These people who have been propped up as American heroes, who are deep state hacks, operatives, who ran as though they were America first. They're watching. They should. Because I hope it happens to them next. The allegations against Cesar Chavez are horrific. Abuse of any kind, especially against children, is indefensible and a betrayal of the values that Latino leaders have championed for generations. There is no excuse. Democrat Senator Ben Ray Lujan wrote in a post on X. And he says his name should be removed from landmarks, institutions, and honors. We cannot celebrate someone who carried out such disturbing harm. My prayers are with the victims who have gone unheard for far too long. They deserve justice, accountability, and to finally be heard, he wrote. I want you to hear John Quinones. Now John Quinones from ABC, I think. He sits down and he actually interviews a woman whose name is Dolores Huerta. She was actually the farm movement co-founder, along with Chavez, back in the day. And he raped her too, she said. Listen.
For decades, the late Cesar Chavez, who died at age 66 in 1993, was a civil rights icon. A champion of farm workers and hero to millions of Latinos.
We're not going to give up. We're too far to give up.
Chavez's legacy now shattered after an exclusive investigation by the New York Times detailed allegations Chavez groomed and sexually abused girls who worked in the farm workers movement. Ana Murguia telling the New York Times she was 13 years old when Cesar Chavez started to sexually abuse her. Deborah Rojas telling the Times she was raped by Chavez when she was 15. Dolores Huerta holding her own painful secret for nearly 60 years, inspired to speak out now because of the revelation from these two women who are now in their 60s.
You know, this is out, and so it's time for me to tell my secret also.
Also, these women were going to be alone in their claims and their allegations, and you wanted to support them?
Absolutely. And I just want to thank them and applaud them for their courage. This is so hard. God knows what they had to go through.
And you didn't tell anyone. Why?
No.
Why not?
I've spent my entire life organizing for farm workers. Okay, I didn't want to do anything, and I knew Cesar was probably the only person that I had ever met that could really do the job to organize workers.
So the damage of speaking up would be too much. It would hurt the movement too much.
Oh, absolutely. Can you imagine? I mean, the movement was built by hundreds of volunteers that came in. And even convincing the farm workers themselves that they had the power to build their own organization. It was very, very hard.
Huerta says she became pregnant twice by Cesar Chavez, choosing to hide her pregnancies from the public and arranging for the children to be raised by other families.
And there's so much to say about that. I mean, how awful. And it continued, and she was victimized how many times? So now, across the country, communities are rushing to delete these memorials that they spent the past 3 decades erecting. Chavez died in 1993, victimizing women and girls who worked with his United Farm Workers movement. One-time defenders suddenly scurrying to erase their celebration of the Hispanic rights activist. In California, the only state to have an official holiday in his name, lawmakers are planning to strip him of the honor. We saw in the San Fernando Valley of a statue of his being hoisted away. It's interesting, too, all while Jeffrey Epstein's name has been black-holed. It's been memory-holed. Where'd it go? Where's all the outrage? Where are the voices of the people demanding justice? Or were you only demanding justice because you were hopeful, like so many other people in positions of power who abused, raped children and women, who worked, quote unquote, with Jeffrey Epstein? Right? They all were desperate for any mention of Donald Trump. But I guess since his name wasn't part of the files, and I guess since people have come in and testified under oath, and they've been asked, because the left is fervent. They are rabid for a taste of meat. Give me anything, Donald Trump. No. He never did anything. Wasn't a part of anything. He was the whistleblower who blew Epstein in. And so now, after beating that piñata that has actual collateral damage, as in actual victims, the story kind of disappears. Cesar Chavez. And the women he victimized didn't want to step forward because they didn't want to thwart the movement, and so they became victims in perpetuity. John Quinones asks Dolores Huerta, who had 2 children because of rape from Chavez. He asked her point blank, did he rape you? And she could not say yes. She said, well, based on what other people are saying, and what those women now in their 60s are saying he did to them, he did to me what he did to them. And so, I guess, yes, she couldn't say it. The scars. We've got big problems in this country. None of them is helped by playing politics. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, never trust the federal government to run like a business. Never trust the federal government to run anything. Case in point, the U.S. Postal Service. Do you guys hear what's going on there? They're going to go out of business. They're so freaking bankrupt and poorly managed. Oh my gosh. Next. If you watch that whole story, it's just
what is.
I don't know. I don't understand this. Like,
who looks at a 13-year-old and is like, "How you doing?"
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Until we have an honest conversation too about priests being celibate. Can you knock it off? The experiments failed. It's failed for hundreds of years, right? Humanity, the animal kingdom, species of which we are one, are not intended to be celibate. They're just not. The whole overarching thing is to go out and reproduce, right? So cutting off the huevos of a man and saying, well, you're just going to have to keep in your pants. It hasn't worked because they rape each other. They rape kids. Like, this isn't, I'm not breaking news to you. I don't know. I agree with Brock. It's mystifying.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't know how you get it. tulipblooms.shop / with Soothe EO essential oils. That's why when you go to tulipblooms.shop / Wendy, go to the Soothe column, drop it down. There's also one that has castor oil. I spent half an hour on the phone the other day with the owner of the company who told me about castor oil because there's a castor blend. It's a smaller bottle, but it's similar. It's how you doing? And I was asking him, I'm like, that's my second favorite one. What's this castor blend? And he's like, castor oil. It's really thick. It's extraordinarily viscous, but it's also extraordinarily healing. And it goes back to like the beginning of time. But in order to process it so that it can be usable and you can benefit from it, they've got all these things they have to do to it. He's like, our castor blend, particularly if you put it on your hands and you rub it on your trunk, you put it on your belly and around the back, it permeates your skin, gets in through all of the epidermis, the dermis, blah, 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 right? And it's good for your organs. I'm like, say what? He's like, 100%, check me on that. I'm like, okay. It's fantastic. It's also underneath that Soothe drop down. I'm telling you, it's become a part of my everyday life, and I every day love it. tulipblooms.shop.
I've been putting it on my feet.
Don't be dissuaded by the word massage. You're like, I'm not getting into
just
my
do
arm.
it yourself.
Just massage it into your skin, and you'll be like, your feet. Game changer. Now what you have to do is when you come back from the lake house after drinking too much, which you will, come back and take a hot shower and then put tulip blooms on your feet, put on your socks, put in your foot thing, and then climb into bed without your socks after washing your Cozy Earth sheets.
Why do you think I'm going to drink too much? It's fake news.
What'd you do last time? Who didn't sleep underneath the covers?
It wasn't cold. I didn't have to.
You were just being cognizant of not having to do too much laundry.
Yeah, I didn't want anybody to have to do anything
You know
extra
what?
for me.
I beg your pardon. I jumped to conclusions, and here I presume that you and your friend drinking an entire bottle of bourbon was a good idea. I'm sorry.
I mean, there was like a skosh left.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the whole bottle.
Oh. Semantics. I love semantics.
Whatever, tequila lady.
Hey, man, I can have one of those. I can have one, unless you're buying.
Yeah, right. Then it's like 8.
We're going to do another one.
Yeah, and then cash them out.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. So this is a kick in the pants. Okay, first of all, my local United States Postal Service office in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania, where Miss May is the woman who keeps it all together. She's the best, Miss May. I'll walk in. How you doing, Miss Bell? Hello, Miss May. She's the best. It looks like nuclear fallout in there. It looks like you're in a third world country. It's dirty. There's bulletproof glass with stickers all over it. It's never vacuumed. There's crap all over the floor. People walk in, leaves blow in, whatever, right? Outside, I guarantee you there's asbestos. Guaranteed. Panels are peeling off of the wall. The building should probably be condemned. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the nucleus of my mailing business here at the Wendy Bell Radio Network. That's where I get all of my mail, right? It's a crap hole. And I wonder, why am I paying 78 cents for a stamp? What are we doing here? Well, apparently, you never want to trust your federal government to run any kind of business. And case in point is the United States Postal Service. The Postmaster General says the USPS is going to run out of money in the next 12 months. Super duper. March 18th, yes, this was just 2 days ago this came out. Postmaster General David Steiner told Congress that the U.S. Postal Service would run out of money in less than a year if changes aren't made to boost revenue. Why is it boosting revenue always? How is it not cutting costs? How is it never examining what you've done that hasn't worked? Because I remember, let me go back in time. A couple years ago, I remember we're going to electrify all of our mail trucks. Sounds like a great idea. How are you going to do that in the Great Lakes? How are you going to do that in Washington? How are you going to do that in the Dakotas? How are you going to do that in Montana, where it gets really cold? Because last time I checked, batteries and exceedingly cold temperature are not simpatico. Well, whatever. We'll just deal with it when we get there. It's like Proterra with all of the electric school buses that didn't work, right? Because they broke down and then nobody knew how to fix them and they were so heavy nobody could tow them. And nobody knew how to fix them because it was such a stupid idea, right? And Jennifer Granholm, who was an investor in Proterra, was like, what? No, I'm not. Oh, yeah, actually I am. Yeah. Did you guys know that the U.S. Postal Service loses a hell of a lot of money every day? We crunch the numbers because they say your stamps are going to go up now because of their gross mismanagement. 78 cents to send something to somebody, a bill or what have you. How about 95? That's what this postmaster guy said with a straight face to Congress. We just don't have any more money. I don't know where we're at. We got to get more. This is Kathy Hochul, right? We're going to tax you. This is Zoran Mamdani. We're going to tax. This is what's his face? Gavin Newsom driving everybody and his brother who's worth their salt cash wise out of California. It's not cost effective anymore. Why would anybody do anything at the USPS? You wouldn't. Steiner asked lawmakers to allow him to borrow more money to cover costs, as well as to increase the price of a U.S. stamp from 78 to 95 cents. He said the cost to mail a single letter in the United States is the lowest in the industrialized world. So that should make it better. Well, you know what? It's the lowest in the industrialized world, so I guess we should just pay it. No! How about you show us your books, you doomcough? Show us what you're spending all your money on. Because last time I checked in the first quarter of this year, which just is about to end or just ended, let's see. What'd they spend? Brock, I've lost it. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. They've lost $1.3 billion in the last quarter. $1.3 billion. A quarter is about 92 days. So I did the math, right? That is losing $14 million a day. Does anybody want to be like, okay, look, this is unsustainable? No. This is like Congress. Just raise taxes. We can't afford that. Well, we're going to squeeze them anyway. Raise taxes. It's never tighten the belt, cut corners, trim staff, stop the ridiculous spending, all of the dumb projects that do nothing, all of the pet spending. No, we're going to screw the American taxpayer again. Screw you. Compare it to France, almost $3 to mail a first-class ticket, he said. England, it's $2.50. Well, you know what? It's funny. I don't live there. I live here. And I might be old-fashioned when I tell you I remember when a Snicker bar and a king-size Snickers. News lady's got king-size Snickers. 25 cents. Do you guys remember that? I do. I remember when you can get a Jolly Rancher stick, one of those things that you could suck down into a razor blade and slice the crap out of your face with. Those were 10 cents. Like, I don't mean to be so 1970s, but why should we just keep accepting? Oh, everybody else pays more, so should we. Did you guys hear that in fiscal year 2024? Fiscal year 2024, the United States Postal Service lost $9.5 billion. Where did it go? Do you know what that amounts to a day? $26 million a day lost by the Postal Service. And yet there's this crazy guy, his name's Jeff Bezos, because he can ship 100 million packages, not just letters, packages, hardcore packages, anywhere in the world every single day. Does anybody out there think maybe we should privatize anything that the government touches because the government sucks? I was just going to put it out there. You can chew on that in the commercial break. When we come back, do not miss the good news. It is the cutest thing ever. And then Make it make sense. Democrats will stop at nothing to protect illegals, even if it means stealing from you what they just voted down. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I've got to go potty again. Do you mind if I go?
No. Why couldn't they just save money by delivering mail 3 days a week? I can imagine taking 2 days off of mail delivery would save a ton of money. How many people say, other than Christmas cards and birthday cards, I mean, who sends stuff anymore? If you don't, I mean, you send it through maybe UPS or, yeah, the brown people, the brown truck people, or FedEx, any of them. Like, I don't know. UPS does do some Amazon deliveries, but I mean, probably because they pay them. Well, they would have to pay them, but at some point, do I need junk mail every day? Most of my bills come electronically now. Most billing is done electronically. We're not writing out bills anymore. I guess some people probably still mail checks. Oh, you still. But everything can be done.
Have you ever seen these ads for like the chair workouts? To the men over 50 who haven't exercised in years, try the chair Tai Chi challenge. It's all over Breitbart. I bet you I could hurt myself doing that.
How many things do you mail out? Like checks and stuff? Like
Very few.
Yeah.
Very few. There are some businesses that are punitive if you don't send them, but
most of mine are
I probably,
water, gas, electric.
Yeah, I probably send out mail-wise, probably not even one thing a week.
Yeah. So why not just make mail delivery Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
What you're going to do is you're going to shut down the Christmas card crowd.
That's what I said. Other than Christmas cards.
It's going to be, first of all, I don't really think anybody gives a crap about seeing my family, right? I mean, the people who need to see them or want to see
Christmas
them
cards are becoming big, and this is what Kate told me.
Okay.
With Gen Z, mailing out Christmas cards.
Generation Z that doesn't talk to each other face to face.
Right. That's what I said. They did a.
I want to
research.
My son Bobby is on the phone way too much.
Is what?
On the phone way too much. Not talking. He's on it all the time, and I have to be like, you know what? Like we're
gambling.
We're driving to a soccer tournament today, and I want to say in the car, like, look, I get I'm driving for the first couple hours, and we'll stop, and somebody else can drive, but I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you on your phone the whole time. Look out the window. Look at the world around you. Or God forbid we go somewhere new and you're like, take a look around, right? We're showing you a part of the world.
Make them play the alphabet.
Look, we've done that for sure. I mean, a million times, everybody does, but it's, and I was thinking about my young neighbor with 3 little kids. Like they're too young to have that distraction. And I'm like, hold off as long as you can. If I did anything as a parent wisely, aside from the summer electronics ban, which my kids hated, And I thought
your kids are closer because of it, though.
I think it was really cool. It sucked for us. It sucked for me because when they're occupied, they're not making a mess, right? When they're occupied, everybody gets along and is quiet. But I didn't want to have house cats. I wanted to have children. So other than that, it was waiting until they were in high school to get phones.
I think it was
13th birthday.
And
I had to fudge on a couple of them because of busing and whatnot. But
that summer electronic band, I think is why they still played wiffle ball up until last summer. I mean, I was never invited to play wiffle ball. I think they were afraid to get beat by the old guy
with the bad grammar, I'm sure. It's why you love me. Oh, yes, you love me. She's fabulous.
There's a fine line. fine line.
You know what I could go for? I could go for some champagne.
Oh, and Brock's going to drink too much. You're middle of the day. You're like, I could go get boozed up.
I didn't say I was going to. I'm driving on the turnpike, dingle.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Probably that in your Wendy Bell Radio tumbler.
No. You're such a jerk.
Joe, fill this up. Boxed wine.
No. Radio program, you know, when you sit back and you assess logically, fairly, as much as you can, and I'm as biased as the next person. Look, I'm staunchly conservative. I don't fool around with liberals. I don't care to argue with progressives. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm done with the people who will not be saved. And I'm very, very quick to tell you that I'm biased. Period. However, you cannot tell me that there is anything that the Democratic Party is currently getting behind, supporting, being a part of, that you could possibly support. Seriously, what can you possibly get behind? That everybody on the left is a victim? That they're angry about something? I don't know what. That they're venomous, many of them, in their views and the derangement that is making America great again. Can you imagine anything as idiotic as taking umbrage with an acronym that legitimately means making the entire thing better? I hate that, say the Democrats. I hate MAGA. MAGA extremists. I'm a total MAGA extremist. Damn right. Proud card-carrying member. Making America great again. Well, what do Democrats want? They don't want anything for America. They need the illegals to stay and to vote. Simple as that. That's the numbers game. That's the math. We need bodies. If this president gets across the finish line, this whole idea of same-day voting, of in-person voting, same-day elections, meaning, right, where you actually go to bed at night and you're like, oh, so-and-so is the president. Not, well, we'll find out in December, right? You gotta be honest about what the Democrats want, right? And so they're going to do everything and vote down anything that is of benefit to you and me in favor of anything that would be in favor of somebody who's an illegal, like this one. Democrats already voted against a bill that would deport illegals who commit fraud against us. 186 Democrats were like, well, that's a bridge too far. Look, if you're from another country and you come to my country and you rob me, you steal from me, you try to defraud me or anybody I care about, get the hell out of my country. Right? Get out. Well, how about this one? Can you imagine Democrats voting against people who steal identities and file millions of dollars of fake tax returns in their names? And people on the left are like, well, I'm sure it was just an anomaly. No, it really wasn't. Breitbart.com, I want to read you this. Feds revoking citizenship of convicted tax fraud migrant. The Justice Department is revoking the citizenship of a man who operated a huge tax fraud scheme, the government says. This guy's name is Emmanuel Oluwatson-Kazin. Conspiracy to steal the identities of U.S. citizens and filing false tax returns in 2017. You're like, well, it sounds terrible, but it's like, how big really was it? Is this really a big deal? Yeah, it's a big deal. Filing comes after Kazim was convicted of 19 counts of mail fraud and wire fraud, aggravated identity theft, and conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud. Here's what he did. He stole the identities of 250,000 people. Right? Do you know what hassle comes with that? Somebody fudged up your credit card number, and so it gets shut down, and you're like, snap. Call Capital One. We're going to go over some charges with you. Oh, please, please, please. No, don't shut my card number down. Right? Everything that's connected to it gets shut down. Everything gets all fudged up. That's just one person fiddling with a credit card or some fraudulence. Imagine somebody legit stealing your identity, screwing up your tax filing, taking your income tax return, absconding with tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, this guy, Kazin, was convicted of stealing the identities of more than 260,000 Americans, and he had purchased the information of another 91,000 victims, all of whom he shared with co-conspirators. So he's not just the guy with a master list. All these other dirtbags have it too. Now, according to the Democratic Party, this guy should not be deported. That's a bridge too far. He's been convicted. He'll probably be bounced because of some suck judge who has Trump derangement syndrome in like 6 minutes. But to the Democrats, they're like, well, I don't know if I'd go so far as to deport him. What are you doing? Who are you? Besides un-American and a threat to democracy, or traitors, as we like to say. Why on earth would Biden's auto pen have commuted this fellow's sentence? Because he was convicted and he was commuted. He was set free during Joe Biden's final hours in office after stealing 260,000 people's identities, filing fake tax returns, and absconding with something like $91 million. Joe Biden was like, well, I'm sure he didn't mean it. Right? Really? Now, how do you guys feel about illegal aliens who hurt animals? Because Democrats don't have a problem with it. If you're a criminal illegal alien or just an illegal alien, and there is a German Shepherd, an ICE dog for Immigration Customs Enforcement, or a police officer's dog, an FBI, some kind of a canine, and you hurt or kill that dog, do you think you should be deported? Hell yeah. No, not by the Democrats. Nope. This is crazy, right? Democrats vote against deporting migrants who harm animals. What's next? Voting against migrants who steal children's lollipops? What else are we going to do? Nearly all House Democrats voted against a bill to ensure migrants can be deported for harming animals used by law enforcement officials. Do you need anything else from me? Now, the bill known as the Bill to Outlaw Wounding of Official Working Animals Act, the Bow Wow Act, passed in a 228 to 190 vote, while Republicans, along with 15 Democrats, voted in favor of the bill. 190 Democrats opposed it. Look, there is no more middle ground Democrat Party. There is no more, oh, it's your grandma's Democrat Party. These are the people who used to vote for unions, right? And teachers and all of that. No, it's changed. The party has been hijacked and is going down a very steep hill right now. Every single thing. Protecting children. Nope. Protecting people from having their identities stolen. Nope. Protecting service dogs from being maimed. Nope. Therein, ladies and gentlemen, is the problem. Democrats are the problem. All right. It's time to get to some good news, ladies and gentlemen. What'd you say, Brock?
I don't have the music for it anymore. I don't know who the artist is. We'll have to find it.
You don't know the... Oh, yeah. I'll have to... What is that? I forget the band's name, but I'll get it for you.
Your mic is off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so we normally have a little jingle here for you, but we had a computer crash. So I want to tell you, Steve Hartman put together a story, and it is one of the cutest things. It's about a gentleman. He's a single dad, couple kids, who ended up being a foster dad, adopted a bunch of kids, and he thought, you know, and it circles back to my neighbor across the street, struggling with the full-time job, the husband with the full-time job, both of them traveling all over the place, 3 little kids, a dog. You know, someday the house is quiet, and that's going to be the worst day of our lives. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, how about some bad jokes? Your bad jokes next. What is it? What were they called? God, because I had to ask permission to use the song.
Yeah.
Something like Ocean, something.
Oceanside Blue? Or...
No. Why is it not giving it to me? No, that's not right.
Was the song called Good News?
Yeah, which is why I think the ocean is in it.
Ocean Park Standoff?
Ocean what?
Ocean Park Standoff?
No, it's not. That's not the name.
Sure.
Ocean Park? No, I don't think. It is Standoff and it is Ocean. I don't remember it being Ocean Park. I don't, honestly, I don't remember it being that. That does not sound, I understand the 2 words, but I don't remember it being Ocean Park. But I'm sure you're correct. You're absolutely correct. Yes. I don't know why I don't remember Ocean Park. I remember Standoff. Yeah. Sorry. Good job. You can criticize me all you want now, jackass.
That was it. What? What'd you say?
I said you can criticize me all you want now, jackass.
That's awfully hostile. On a Friday? I gotta remember to grab that. What are you laughing for?
No, it's just idiotic.
What
I remember Ocean, I remember Standoff, but I don't remember it being Ocean Park. You're like, well, it is, moron. Okay.
That's not what I said.
It is what you
I
said.
said no. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
It's
I said,
what your
are you sure?
exasperated D-bag way.
Are you sure?
See, yeah, you guys feel for me. I know.
Wow.
It is kind of mental. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, it's freezing in here. But see, if I don't wear short sleeves, what?
Demanda said, "Oh my God, I fell asleep and missed half the show." You put Demanda to sleep.
Fire her.
Wow.
She's got my tattoo, though.
She's fired.
Anybody who tattoos me to their body, I give a little leeway, except you.
I was just going to say, where's my leeway?
Because you wanted me to pay for your stupid tattoo as a business expense. Remember when you tried to get that? Remember when you tried to do that job?
That didn't work either. Well, I mean, During summertime, I could charge you for advertising.
You guys have seen it, right? It's this big. He wanted it to be like this. Meep, meep. That's still a pretty good size tattoo. That'd be
No, I didn't want it this big. I wanted it about that big.
What'd you get?
Well, I fell asleep during it. And
I don't know
woke
how
up.
somebody falls asleep during a tattoo. I say that's fake news.
I was tired.
You were tired. I was tired, and so I didn't feel the
I went right after
5,000
work the one
needles
day.
going
You
into my
don't.
skin.
It becomes
yeah.
background noise.
Just because we can. Let's look at Murphy. Oh, there's Poppy Murphy. Who's a good boy.
Okay.
Oh, he's a good boy. Look at him. We have the program. You know, this is our tradition. We've been doing it for several years now, ever since one of my sons said dumb jokes all the time. And Brock's like, let's make that into a segment. And it ended up being great. And so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just flew in from New York and boy, my arm's tired. I'm joking, of course. Anywho, welcome to the Comedy Club. Won't you give it up to Wendy and Brock for Bad Joke Friday?
All right, so our first joke of the day. You know what? I don't know if you didn't check yours. So we don't know if we got anything from Dr. Rafferty.
We did. I didn't have time this morning.
You didn't have time this morning. So I'm going to tell you what. Here's the first joke out of the gates. Bob went to his friend Joe's house and was amazed at how well Joe treated his wife. Ooh, Joe was often told her how attractive she was, complimented her cooking, showered her with hugs and kisses. Gee, Bob commented later, you really make such a big fuss over your wife. Well, I started appreciating her more about 6 months ago, Joe said. It revived our marriage, and we couldn't be happier. Inspired, Bob hurried home, hugged his wife, told her how much he loved her, and said he wanted to hear all about her day. She burst into tears. Honey, Bob asked, what's the matter? She said, this has been like the worst day. This morning, Billy fell off his bike. He broke his ankle. Then the washing machine broke, and now you've come home drunk.
Wow.
Really?
Wow. We're going to take shots at men?
After all that, I get a... Okay. I guess you can only make fun if it's the other way. Okay.
Well, it's funny the other way.
Okay.
Why is a zombie so good at his job? Dedication.
Oh my gosh. Why was the candy cane so expensive? It was in mint condition.
Oh, God. How are husbands like wine?
How?
They take years and years and years to fully mature.
That's true. 3 golf clubs walk into a bar. The putter orders a beer. The wedge orders a tequila. The third one says, nothing for me. I'm the driver. So stupid.
So stupid. Good moms let you lick the beaters when they're making a cake.
Yes.
Great moms turned them off first.
Oh my goodness. I knew that was coming. I told my wife I was cold, so she said, go stand in the corner. It's 90 degrees there. I don't know what that means. Oh, 90 degrees. A corner.
Goodness. There's your math skills at work. So my marriage counselor asked if it was true that I generally wake up grumpy in the morning. I said, nah, most of the time I just let him sleep.
Oh, jeez. Man wakes from a coma.
A lot of men jokes.
His wife changes out of her black clothes and irritated remarks, I really cannot depend on you in anything, can I? I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
That was part of a joke that Brock didn't include, I'm sure. Go ahead. I'll try this one. I bought my husband a prosthetic leg for Christmas. It's not his main present, just a stocking stuffer.
Always borrow money from a pessimist?
Yes.
They'll never expect it back.
I told the nurse I was bitten by a wolf. Where? She asked. I said, no, regular. I know.
A recent study has found that women who carry a little extra weight live longer than men who mention it.
Oh my gosh, true. Today I saw a dwarf climbing down a prison wall. I thought to myself, that's a little condescending.
Oh, God. I called my wife to tell her I was going to pick up fish and chips on my way home from work. She didn't say anything and then hung
up.
Apparently.
Oh, wait. No, wait. Read it again. And then what?
Apparently, she's still upset about letting me name the kids.
Oh, gosh. Read it again, Brock.
Well, you ruined it.
No.
I called my wife to tell her I was going to pick up fish and chips on my way home from work. She didn't say anything and then hung up. Apparently, she's still upset about letting me name the kids.
See, that was funny the second time. There you go. Did you not get it? Okay. Anyway, my kid asked if a kangaroo could jump higher than the Empire State Building. I said, of course, buildings can't jump. I know.
How does a polar bear build its house?
How?
It glues it together.
Where do you go to learn how to make ice cream, Brock? Sunday school.
I went to see a movie about beavers today. It was the best damn movie I ever saw.
Oh my gosh. I used to play piano. What? Go ahead. You have more?
It said best movie I ever seen.
Oh. Did you just correct that? Oh my gosh, Houston, there is a God. I used to play piano by ear. Wow, that's impressive. Yeah. But now I've used my hands.
Oh, God. What's a computer's favorite food?
Something chips.
A microchip.
There you go. How does a snowman get around? I don't understand. By riding an icicle. Cute.
Why did the banana go to the hospital?
This is so stupid. I love how your voice goes up at the end. Why did the banana?
There's a question
Wait a
mark.
minute. Why did the banana go to the hospital? Go ahead. Why?
It didn't peel well.
Last night I tried a restaurant on the moon. The food was great, Brock, but what?
It was out of this world.
It had no atmosphere. Oh.
How did the hairdresser win the race?
How?
She knew a shortcut.
Oh, my goodness. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You've had enough, right? I think so. We've loved having you here. WendyBellRadio.com. Come on back next week. We'll be here doing it all over again. I hope you are here with us. Be safe. Love you guys. Thank you. Peace.